and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Docomo Pacific is making the Better Together bundle even better. 2 great services plus more. Get unlimited local calls, SMS, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet for $109 a month. Sign up today and get free installation and choose between a free Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, or $100 off select devices. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
The number of residents removed from one state's Medicaid program has doubled, with perhaps more to come.
Arkansas's Department of Human Services says more than 4,100 residents were dropped from coverage because they did not meet a work requirement. The new rule mandates Medicaid recipients work 80 hours a month for at least 3 months of the year. That rule knocked about 4,300 Arkansans off the Medicaid rolls last month, and another 4,800 could lose coverage if they don't comply by the end of October. Linking Medicaid benefits to hours worked was a stipulation the Trump administration allowed each state to opt into. The rule is the subject of a federal lawsuit filed in August. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
A possible terror suspect in critical condition in Germany after lighting a Molotov cocktail and taking a woman hostage at the train station in Cologne. 2 other people were injured. 2 other police say the suspect's motives remain under investigation, including any connections to extremist groups. Facebook confirming it does hope to roll out a feature for users of its Messenger app that CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been using for months, able to delete sent messages.
Screenshots of an unsent feature are circulating Twitter. Currently, folks can only delete messages from their own inbox. The unsend feature would allow users to remove a message from both sides of a conversation. Other platforms like Snapchat and Facebook's Instagram already allow users to unsend messages. While the social network hasn't revealed any dates, a rep for the company tells TechCrunch, Facebook internally tests products and features before they ship to the public so we can ensure the quality of the experience.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The Mega Millions jackpot is now the 4th largest in U.S. history, climbing to an estimated $654 million after nearly 3 months with no winner. The odds for tomorrow's drawing remain the same, 1 in more than 302 million. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Adkins Kroll.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times, or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Morrico Equipment is the exclusive Freightliner truck dealer in Guam and Micronesia. That exclusive part is important because Morrico Equipment can sell new Freightliner trucks with the 2004 Mercedes diesel engine. If you operate trucks on Guam, then you know how important and reliable the old diesel engines are. The Mercedes diesel engine only in Freightliner trucks operates on both old and new diesel fuel. They do not require DEF fluid or engine regeneration. Freightliner trucks, only at Morrico Equipment.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin,
can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A Korean soccer player has been acquitted of all charges in connection with an alleged sexual assault of a Korean woman at the Leo Palace Resort in January. 28-year-old Byung-Oh Kim was found not guilty of 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct and 4 counts of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct. In his closing remarks to the jury last week, Assistant Attorney General Jeremiah Luther described the victim as a woman who was awakened in the middle of the night half asleep and frozen by fear when Kim forcibly took advantage of her, he said. The jury got the case Thursday morning. They deliberated all of Thursday and Friday, went home for the weekend, and reached their verdict of not guilty yesterday afternoon. Defense attorney Randy Cunliffe painted a different picture in his closing remarks of Kim's conduct. He suggested the woman was a gold digger who consented to having sex and later threatened to sue after being jilted following the encounter. Following the verdict, Cunliffe told the Guam Daily Post that the jury apparently did not believe the woman's allegations of force. He said his client is very happy that he has been acquitted and can now return to Korea and try and get his life back together. Guam Police Department has postponed plans to conduct an Election Day survey of the department's community-oriented policing strategy known as COPS. At a press conference yesterday afternoon at police headquarters in Tizon, GPD Chief Joseph Cruz said the survey has been pushed back until January. No specific date has been set yet. Survey is meant to measure public perception of the effectiveness of GPD's already existing community-oriented policing strategy. The Election Commission denied GPD's request to distribute the survey inside polling stations on November 6 after concerns were raised that it could have a chilling effect on voters. Some suggested the department was somehow trying to influence voters to support the Republican gubernatorial ticket. Cruz said he was disheartened by those suggestions. He said the survey was nonpartisan and non-political. Cruz also denied suggestions that the survey would be used to advance his Ph.D. thesis at Fiji's South Pacific University, which is also sponsoring the survey. Chief said his thesis would be completed by the end of this year, and the survey now won't be conducted until January. We'll have more news after this.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 6 a.m. Opening arguments were heard yesterday in district court in the retrial of Raymond Martinez and Juanita Mosier. Martinez and Mosier are facing methamphetamine distribution and money laundering charges. They're alleged to have conspired to bring 8 pounds of meth from California to Guam. Their first trial ended in a mistrial in May. In his opening arguments yesterday, Assistant U.S. Attorney Fred Black said that the prosecution has videotapes of the defendants talking about their plans to bring the meth to Guam in cars. in the mail and in a water softener system. Key prosecution witness is former Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency Lieutenant Henry Alvendia, who the prosecution says was recruited by the defendants to help bring the meth to Guam. However, defense attorney Pete Perez called the government's case against Martinez and Mosier rotten. He said there's a law enforcement corruption in the case and suggested that his clients had been set up. The Department of Public Health and Social Services has announced that medicinal cannabis home cultivation permit applications are now ready for distribution. A release from Public Health says that as of today, the application forms can be downloaded from the department's website or picked up at the Department of Public Health Central Office in Manilao. There is one application for patient cultivators and a different one for caregivers applying to grow cannabis. To qualify for a medical marijuana home cultivation permit, applicants must register with Public Health and obtain a registry ID card. Patients must submit proof of diagnosis from their practitioner that they are suffering from one of the illnesses qualified for treatment with medicinal cannabis. Public Health Director Leo Casil said that once the application has been completed and turned in, it should take only a few days to process it and issue the permit. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Says mostly cloudy today and warm with isolated showers this morning, then scattered showers in the afternoon, plus isolated thunderstorms. There's southeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, decreasing overnight. Highs about 88 degrees overnight. Lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight, 6:01. Sunrise this morning was at 6:11, about the same time tomorrow. We'll take a look at the satellite imagery and see if there's anything in there that's interesting to Mike Knight. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Not a whole lot interesting there. Just some clouds that have been lingering about for the past 2 or 3 days, really. Had an upper level low pressure system that's pulled off to the west, kind of left some of the clouds lingering behind.
See that?
And now we have a bit of a weak trough starting to develop down to the south, but they're not expecting any development or anything near us. Actually, maybe some development further out to the west, but that's not really going to affect us too much. Just going to ramp up the chances for rainfall based on the amount of moisture that's available. Just usual stuff for this time of year, really.
Gotcha. All right, well, that's there it is. News and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you. We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
Portions of the program brought to you by our friends over at King's Restaurant. King's, where they've got, today is Tuesday, so it's Bistec Chamorro is the big part of their lunchtime plan. And you can have lunch pretty much anytime you want to. I think you can walk in there right now and say, I heard the guy on the radio talking about Bistec Chamorro, and that's what I am now craving. Put a bowl of it in front of me. And they can do that at King's.
Hyundai construction equipment is sold exclusively on Guam by Morico Equipment, a market leader with proven reliability in large excavators, loaders, and forklifts. Morico Equipment, with 28 years on Guam, offers Hyundai construction equipment sales, rental, parts, service, and fully maintained lease finance. Hyundai Equipment is in stock on Guam. Equipment demonstrations are available on request. Contact Morico Equipment on Ipao Road at 649-1946 or go to moricoequipment.com.
Portions of your favorite morning show also brought to you by Guam Hearing Doctors. They've got solutions. You know, life is too short to be isolated from the people you love. Hearing loss is the invisible handicap. Also brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future. American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. GRMC, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. Call them today.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Millions of of things to talk about and so few moments to talk about them with you here on the program. Welcome to the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 FM. This is The Point. My name is Ray Gibson, surrounded by incredible broadcast radio and journalism talent like Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Ray.
Aren't you getting tired of writing about politics yet?
It's the season for it.
It is the season for it. It's like every other story in the Daily Post is a politics story, and it's all got your byline on it.
No, not all of it.
Almost.
Yeah, and crime tops the list today, though.
There's some interesting crime stories out there. There's a couple that we were talking about on the radio yesterday with what's his name, Jerry Anus. The anus guy is got busted again. Yeah. Unbelievable. And then there's another story. Remind me, I printed out the magistrate report on this because it's so stupid. It's surreal. You've got there's another one of these couples, right? They got pulled over by the cops, and naturally somebody starts fidgeting. A search ensues, and then there's actual resisting of arrest, and somebody drives away, knocks the cop in the knee, all of this other stuff, and you're going, you've got to be kidding. And they were on pretrial release. Of course they were on pretrial release. Of course they were. They just have absolutely no capacity for holding on to criminals and keep them out from harassing the public and being a nuisance to themselves and to everybody else around them. There's that story, of course, and there's a bunch of others. Michael Knight will get the phone when you call at 888-8255. That's 888-8255. And now, were you keeping track of my predictions when we were going through the football scores? You didn't.
I didn't keep. No, I don't keep. I don't even keep track of my own.
Your own stuff.
Yeah. So, but I know you were fairly closely aligned with Blake.
Yeah, well, I was going after mammals, and I did call the Patriots yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I did call the Patriots.
That was a great game.
What was it, 43 to 40?
40, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it ended up to be. And my understanding was that the Chiefs looked like they were going to carry it all the way through. And as usual, Patriots fourth quarter team came through and just showed them where the door was.
Yeah, that's Belichick. Belichick's he's a wizard of a coach. There's no denying it, man. He's got enough rings on his fingers to prove it.
Absolutely. And then I've got my friend Neitz who copied me on something online, and apparently I picked the Jaguars.
Yeah,
because they were four-legged and furry, and apparently they won in the thing yesterday as well.
Yeah,
but I don't think that she picked the Jaguars.
No, I did not.
It's just, lost 27 confidence points. And if I knew what that meant, I'd say something
actually
smart alecky about it.
Yeah, that's huge because when we make our picks, we're given a chance to assign confidence points to each one of the picks, and it starts at 15 and goes down to 1. So to lose that many confidence points when there's a finite amount, that's huge. When you miss a pick, basically the way it goes is when you miss a pick, you want it to be on one of the picks where you gave it low confidence.
Oh,
points,
I see.
So you don't lose those points.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not. It doesn't hurt you quite as bad.
No, it doesn't hurt as bad.
It's like a mulligan or something.
That's like mine. I missed 4 picks so far, and but they're all in the 5. Let's see this one here.
When does the bank repossess your car? At which point, in the fantasy football, will the bank repossess your car or somebody will come and take your kids away?
That's only if the Cowboys win.
Hey, let's find out who's on Facebook this morning.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Now I get the right camera on the screen. Let's see who's playing around with me this morning. It's Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, and I've titled today's program Taco Tuesday because I was sitting down with somebody last night and she said, I can't take the politics anymore. I can't do it now. And so I thought I'd go with something fun and innocuous like Taco Tuesday. And it's Taco Tuesday out there in the world somewhere for people that are tired of politics. Lynn Vince apparently wants to stay into it and have a little bit of fun. She says today is Tackle It, Don't Tickle It Tuesday. Tackle It, Don't Tickle It Tuesday. Because I don't know if that has any political ramifications, but it sure does sound like fun. And who else we got here? Ted Lewis is there. Juanita Machi is waving this morning. John St. Nicholas is 21 more days until the big show. Buy your tickets now. Well, that's the great thing about the upcoming general election. It's free, and there's a possibility we might get 2 of them.
So it's a two great tastes in one.
I just can't believe that I find myself this close to the general election, and I have yet to solidly decide on who I'm voting for governor.
You seem to appreciate the flyers that were left on your door by the Tenorio camp.
I don't know about appreciate. I thought it was quite tactful that they would explore the ghetto and the barrio with their message, you know. I can see where they're digging for voters.
Roland Sandia Ismael is there. Joe Michael says, "Have a day from San Diego, California." Kmart is going to close in Guam, says Joseph Michael. You know, I don't know about that. This is what I was looking at online. CNBC's actually got a list of all of the Kmarts that are going to be closing, and they don't have a Guam on the list yet. Bluffs, Iowa, Bellingham, Washington, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Lake Orion in Minnesota.
They have shut down almost all of them already.
And there's a map. You can find the map on CNBC, and it's a mainland map. I looked at it carefully to make sure that there wasn't anything that looked like Guam was going to be closing. But I tell you what, there's a bunch of people that are very, very anxious about it. You know who they are? Wholesalers that Kmart owes money to.
Hey, I'm a little anxious too because I'm kind of a bargain basement buyer kind of guy, and Kmart is where I go. But make no mistake, if this store is generating the kind of revenue we've heard about, the other guys are watching it, they're paying attention, and are probably even in talks with Kmart now to just go ahead and
warm in their hands. Yeah, just leave the merchandise into wherever it is, and we'll just change
put our logo.
Yeah, we'll change the sign at the street where I was going to say, can we keep Little Caesars? But the truth of the matter is, I'm not a big Little Caesars fan. I remember I had when they first opened years ago, I thought, this is going to be great. Little Caesars, and I'm doing the pizza thing, and I actually ate one once, and I thought, well, okay. Ismail, his comment on it is they aren't going to be closing down the Guam store because they don't know what a Guam is. Unless North Korea is aiming at us, nobody pays any attention. That's funny. Who else is playing around on Facebook Live? I got Kate Baltazar Garcia, Nita Mofness, my classmate with the Valentine's eyes. That's always nice to see. Big sister Shelly Gibson is there. Jennifer Schnitzger is online and waving hello. North Carolina, right? Rico Blancaflor saying good morning to everybody around here. Bert Duarte, Lady D is on. Bill Pettit, Andre Bainham, listening this morning to see if I say his name or make any conversation about write-ins. Derek Munya Kinata is online. So is Bob Lizama, Robert and Connie Bartonico, Bob and Connie. Go Seniors and Army Strong, right? Bob Lizama's there. Dormery Fergiger, and who else is I got? Ken Leguetnia, Lynn Paris, who's on this morning. What are you writing? Oh, Maria should not be issuing statements on the point, then go on another station and contradict her statements. Just say, I don't know. Just say, I don't know. What is her misinformation campaign for the write-in movement? Oh, are we talking controversies? Are we talking conspiracy? Is it time for that? It's only 6:25. Usually give me until about 6:35 or so before I really, dive deep in and put both knees on the throat of a conspiracy. But there's a couple of interesting ones floating around this morning. Of course, there are. David Lessard is there. Ryan St. Nicholas, John Herrera, Hafa Guam, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. Lori Hanzik saying good morning. Hey, happy morning to you as well. Juanita Blas. Did I already say that Carl Gutierrez was on? And the reason why that's important to me, well, it's important because I like the former governor of Guam. I really do. I was, have a couple of interesting thoughts in my head. We talk about Kmart. We talk about the significance of them in this town. I'm not a big Kmart shopper, and I've probably maybe a couple of dozen times since they've opened been in the store. Just run in for birthdays and stuff. Might go in if I'm here and I need tools. It's closer for me to run over to Kmart and check out some Craftsman tool that they have over there, as opposed to going all the way to Home Depot. And I remember there was one morning here when I first started working in this company. I was looking around and said, boys, it's time to clean this place up. So we jumped in the car and we went over to Kmart and went down the all of the aisles where they had wiper things and vacuum things and Swiffer things, and bought a whole bunch of that stuff, brought it back and cleaned up the building. And I might have been in there one more time since then. It's just not the thing for me. I recognize though it's a thing for a lot of people.
a lot of people. You can't miss the place on payday mornings, payday evenings. Christmas shopping without a Kmart would not be the same. If for no other reason, and I learned this from former Senator Judy Guthertz, is they're open 24 hours a day. So if the place is crowded, you know, when you would normally go Christmas shopping, middays, afternoons, nights, wait until midnight or wake up super early. And charge in there at 5 o'clock. You've done that.
Oh, absolutely. I'll stop by there on a Saturday morning coming in for my show on Boss. And always, it's just there's nobody in there.
Let's see. Maka's there, and who else is there? John Meyerich saying good morning. Well, it's good morning to everybody here. As I said, there's one of the reasons why this is a big deal here is because their parent corporation, Sears, is in trouble. They've filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. That was a big story on Fox Business. Do I have the gizmo up? Can I play audio from here? Avera.
Yes.
Yes, now I can. Okay, so here's the story, and hopefully it will bring some sense of relief to you.
Well, breaking overnight, Sears, once a giant in the retailing industry, has filed for bankruptcy protection following years of losses and a lot of debt. Will Sears survive, or will the company vanish into retail history like Toys R Us? David Ragland, CEO and investment strategist of IRC Wealth, joins us, saying good morning, David.
Good morning.
Well, it's a rough filing, but it's not over yet. You know, Eddie Lampert says that he really wants to turn the company around. He wants to do this under bankruptcy protection. They now have financing, almost $2 billion in debt refinancing available to them under the bankruptcy protection. Do you think that they can survive, or is this going to be the same as Toys R Us?
I think you're getting close to a Toys R Us liquidation. You've got major manufacturers not selling to Sears anymore, Whirlpool being an example. So at this point in time, I think they've got the $300 million in DIP financing, which will carry them possibly through the holiday season. However, I think it's going to be a tough sledding for Sears, given the competition from Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, and Walmart, really eating in all of their major core customers.
I was going to say, I wanted to ask you about who kind of benefits from this, because, you know, the money folks always think to themselves, and look, they employ 70,000 people, so that's the rough side of the story for those jobs and those jobs that are going to be lost. But at the same time, whether it is a Target or a Walmart or an Amazon, how much can they pick up from Sears, at least on the toy side? Because I know the appliance side is a little bit different.
Right. I think you're already seeing Home Depot and Lowe's positioning for the appliance side. I think all the other retailers are out there looking at the merchandising side. You're looking at online retailers such as a Macy's or DSW that are doing a fantastic job. Obviously, Walmart going after the toys aggressively this season. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Sears, especially now with the consumer understanding that Sears is in bankruptcy. Always creates a negative light on the retailer itself.
Right. Well, we're going to get retail sales numbers out today. The estimate for September up 0.6%. We shall see if that kind of gives a little bit of a jolt to these stocks. But again, we saw Sears in the pre-market under a lot of pressure. Real quick, I do want to ask you about this issue with the Saudis, because there is an interesting
Okay, now we can break away from that conversation, because it's, for all intents and purposes, it is done. There is a concern about the Saudi journalist that has gone missing and feared dead. The repercussions on that are going to be going to cause World War III in terms of oil and oil prices. So we have watched that one very, very carefully here.
Yeah, it could be for the reason for the volatility in the oil prices lately. Yes, Sears stock hit an all-time low on September 28th. Shares traded under $1 at that point for the first time in a very long time. And, of course, you saw their prices now at 34 cents.
Right.
That's a share.
Yeah.
That's insane. And they could very well be delisted from NASDAQ, although they've declared bankruptcy now, and I'm sure that's the least of their concerns.
Yeah. It's save the stores. They're going to be closing down a whole bunch and liquidating, and conversations about liquidation and then takeover opportunities for Lowe's, Target, and Walmart among the major competitors out there. And I don't know. What is it possible if something were to happen here with the Kmart? Would that be taken over? As you point out, I mean, there's probably no shortage of business guys going, I don't know, that Kmart on Guam is doing well. Very, very well. So you know, would they be a target for some kind of a takeover by a Target, by a Walmart, by a Lowe's?
Yeah, I think Walmart would be silly to turn down the opportunity, because it would be one of their better better profitable, most profitable
build to
stories.
suit, yeah. 6:31 in the morning. 888-8255 is the telephone number out here. 888-TALK. It is 988-5874. 988-5874 is the radio station WhatsApp. What? A radio station with a WhatsApp? Sure. You know why? Because it makes it easy for you to be able to take funny memes or cool videos or statements of things that you would like me to say on the air that you don't necessarily want shown on the Facebook Live or the YouTube Live. So you send it to me there in confidence. We can keep a secret around here. 988-5874 is the WhatsApp. I mean, and if you really want to dig deep into okay, for real now, I can't have hardly any record of this showing up. Send it to my email address. It's raygibsonshow@gmail.com on the World Wide Web. Virtually unhackable when you get through all of that stuff. So those are the ways to get a hold of me. And what's on the table of contents today? Well, there's some of it we've already spent a little bit of time talking about. Obviously, the Kmart thing is of interest, and it was just a few hours ago again that they've declared seeking the bankruptcy protection, and they're going to get it. They're going to have access to capital. Many of the banks that they work with have already said, yeah, we'll see if we can help you out here and keep the operation alive. We do want to see your plans. They've already got some plans of changes in their management and leadership that's going on right now. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Is there political discussion? Is there political debate here floating around this morning? Is it possible? Of course there is. This is Guam. You want to know what's at the tip of my tongue and the top of my political gossip table of contents? Better keep listening then. It's 6:33. Time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's their managing editor, Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. Students and staff at Simon Sanchez High School are mourning the deaths of two fellow students who died in a car crash in Jonyo over the weekend. The boys were identified by fellow students as Josiah Blas and Timothy Uwe. Both were 17 years old. DOE spokeswoman Isa Baza said additional counseling has been provided to the students. The school's flag flew at half staff yesterday, and a moment of silence was held for the students. Uwe and Blas were passengers in a black Toyota Corolla being driven by a 19-year-old. The vehicle ran off Route 4 in Jonyo and crashed into the bush late Saturday night. The 19-year-old was treated for his injuries and later released. An airman on pretrial release following accusations that he raped a 9-year-old girl in July has now been jailed after he traveled to the mainland U.S. without permission. 33-year-old Luis Anthony Vargas appeared in Superior Court yesterday for a pretrial hearing in front of Judge Anita Socola. Vargas was on pretrial release, confined to his home in Manilao and under orders not to leave Guam. However, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations found out that he had left Guam and traveled to New Mexico via Hawaii. When he returned, he was taken into custody. Judge Socola revoked his release while he awaits trial. Vargas's next court appearance is scheduled for tracheal collapse that cannot be surgically corrected. The veterinarian also found Tony was suffering from decreased mobility and recommended that he be retired. A special ceremony for Tony is planned at Customs for Friday in Teason. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I will. It's 6:36. That's iConnect time. Connect longer for less. They've got incredible practical plans for you at iConnect on mobile and internet and push to talk. So find them today. Call them 888-8888.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
There was traffic, and then it went away because it's still too early for traffic on Guam. Don't see anything happening at Sumai Anderson Air Force Base, their Navy Hospital. Don't see anything happening coming out of Jigo into Dededo. Don't see anything happening on Route 1 and 3 in the intersection there. 8, 10, and 16 is clear. 10 and 15 is clear. 4 and 10 is clear. And everything in Hagåtña is clear. It's like everybody is sleeping in this morning. It's either that or the gizmo's broken. But like I said, I saw it. It's starting to hint at some traffic building up around Ganya Heights and Ordot, but that went away pretty quick. I'll keep an eye on it. You keep an eye on it too. 6:37 in the morning. That's right now traffic on the point.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Adkins Kroll.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Who's there? Chrissy Pakaigwe says, good morning from New Jersey. Carla Gutierrez. She says, I lucked out yesterday, ran into Ray. Yeah, that's true. I was leaving one part of Agania, and I parked my car next to the old Pan Am building, and there was heard my name said by a pretty voice, and I turned around, and there was Carla, and I get a big hug out of her, and I told her to give that to her old man who was celebrating a birthday. So it was nice to see you yesterday as well. Valerie Lynn Maige, who works over at Frank Huggins' office, waiting for me to say Frank Huggins' name, and maybe put some whispers over the latest conspiracy theory. Have you heard this one yet? The latest conspiracy theory? So it's apparently there are some of the brainiacs over on the Lou and Josh side are all freaked out about what they're claiming there's some kind of collusion going on now between Frank and Alicia and Ray and Tony. That's the two teams getting together to foil her chances at victory in Adelup. Have you heard that one?
No, that's news to me.
That's floating around.
You'd think the Bota team had enough trouble of their own, you know. So.
What did I say yesterday? What was the point of the conversation yesterday? You got Tom Fisher, Del Toro. Is that the name of the actor that I think he looks like? Benicio Del Toro, right? With no hair and the beard. I'm not saying I think he looks like that. I'm saying that there are women that thinks he looks like that. Would actually like to see more of him on some of the videos these days. But anyway, so Tom writes a note to Madam Attorney General. I write now to ask that you cause the Office of the Attorney General to dismiss this action upon its own motion. And asking her basically to deep six the complaint against the governor. The conduct of the prosecution division suggests an attempt to embarrass Mr. Tenorio rather than seek justice. The prosecution division has improperly levied charges at a time designed to influence the outcome of Guam's general election. And the actions and activities of the chief prosecutor raise an appearance of impropriety, which we did not hear about too much in some of the coverage on this. You got to dig deep into the letter that he writes. You get the thing there, blah, 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 blah. I could have done this at any other time. We had an additional 10 months. Okay, boring. And then, disagreements over what constitutes official misconduct, yada, yada. Boring. Here's the fun part. Finally, I have recently seen a photograph of Mr. McDonald socializing with candidate Lourdes Leon Guerrero while she campaigned. Even assuming their relationship is entirely innocent, it evidences extraordinarily poor judgment by Mr. McDonald. You may recall that just such a meeting between then Attorney General Loretta Lynch and President Bill Clinton in June 2016 resulted in the recusal of Ms. Lynch from an investigation relating to Secretary Hillary Clinton. The tarmac meeting. Yeah. In any case, I do not believe their relationship is innocent. Mr. McDonald, as photographed, was in the company of a certain Mr. Brennan. That gentleman's sister is believed to be the campaign manager for Ms. Leon Guerrero. Mr. Brennan's niece is an employee of Ms. Leon Guerrero, and sister-in-law is the chief probation officer at the Superior Court of Guam. Can you just see the wheels turning around in Tom's head? Upon information and belief, it is her office and perhaps Ms. Brennan herself that is a regular source of information covertly passed to members of the island media. Dark conspiratorial thoughts.
Thoughts only.
Well, who's your source? Where are you getting the leaks from at the Attorney General's office? I don't. You know what? They just magically appear. I don't know where the heck these things are coming from, but that's it. That's the case. Anyway, 888-8255. That's those the big conspiracies. Tom thinks that there's, you know what, this whole thing is not ill-timed. It is ill-timed on purpose. And that's why, and it's because McDonald is tight, or how do we want to say? McDonald is in. He's in. Is there truth to some of that? I don't know. I guess I'll have to wait until I get something else leaked to me at some point in the morning. Getting back on Facebook Live, what do we got? Ken LG this morning chiming in on something other than the politics of the day. He says Sears started going down the drain when a finance guy took over from a retail guy. Totally different skill set. You know, we see that kind of thing happening all the time. Adonis Mendiola's there, and he's now, I think, legally changed his name to Keto, which is kind of interesting. And so I'm walking around Shoe Mart the other day, and a cousin comes up to me. I barely recognized him, and I said, "What's going on with you?" He says, "Man, I'm on that keto thing. I'm on the keto thing. He's lost like 90 pounds or something like that. No longer needs to go see the doctor. He's just popping vitamins and Tic Tacs. That's all he needs now to keep himself going." Way to go, Ramona White Lunga. Carm Leon Guerrero is there. Trish Cruz, who says, "Let's eat taco." Not a bad plan. And what else we got? Debbie Wise is on. Albert Eliason. Carla, what's Carla going to? What are we going to do without Tony? We're 114 customer workers short. Where? What are we talking about here? Send me, reveal to me somewhere. Lady D, yeah, and Ray's actions had nothing to do with it. I see Renee and Pat Tidegui out there as well. 888-8255, et cetera, is the ways to get a hold of me. And I didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday, although it was on my radar. I wanted to wish one of my favorite agencies on the, I swear to God it's true. When I was a little boy, my favorite thing was when Uncle Jim and Uncle Joe would say, "We're going to the port." Because it wasn't someplace that we got a chance to go to all the time. We had to pick something up, and we'd go meet a ship and go find the break bulk place and just get all kinds of goodies and toys that we'd pick up ourselves over at the port. It was always one of my favorite adventures was going by the port. And now we wanted to wish the port a happy anniversary. Joanne Brown's on the line. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing okay. And to this day, I look for the opportunities to get down to the port when I'm training for races and stuff. I will often run from the old USO all the way down the breakwater. I mean, literally all the way down the breakwater to the end of it, and that's the easy part. Running back is the hard part because you're against an amazing amount of wind. So I mean, there's so many different uses for the port facility. Anyway, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. To be 43 again is wonderful.
I like that. I like that.
That was old. Now you get a little older, and it's like, hey, 43 doesn't sound so bad anymore.
Yeah, can I get that? Let's get that engraved. So, what are you guys doing? What are you doing to celebrate?
Well, of course, yesterday we had our opening ceremonies, and we had Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio there, along with our board chairman, Frank Santos, and our board members, and our oversight chairman, Senator Frank Uggan, who was there to help us commemorate.
You saw Frank?
43rd. Yes.
You saw Frank? Nobody see it. He's at rallies. The guys are like radio silence. It's amazing. Is he okay? I haven't heard of him.
He is just as fine and vibrant and engaged as he always is, and certainly in this past term, he's been our oversight chair. He's been very supportive of our operations, and he certainly championed our bond legislation a year ago that, of course, we were able to execute this past summer. So we're very pleased to have him come and join us. But yes, he is alive and well, and doing good as always.
I worry about him because, I send him WhatsApps and we try to call him and just, see how he's going, what's up with the campaign, all that stuff. And I just never get a chance to, just hasn't been able to return my calls. I thought he was sick.
No, he's doing very well. Beyond that, I can't comment on why he is or is not engaging with the media. I have to defer that to him.
That's okay. Sorry, I just, it's a little bit of the Cassie spirit has taken over me here this morning as we go. So what are you going to be doing to celebrate Port Week? Are we going to tours with the kids? Are you going to let people go and explore the riprap?
Well, I mean, we have to limit, of course, activity in the port yard. I know that, occasionally we're able to accommodate that, but that's not a standard thing just because of the operations that we have ongoing. But it's more so an opportunity for us to recognize our employees and our retirees that have retired this past year. And so we have a number of activities for our employees to include volleyball. They'll have a softball game this weekend, bowling, and just a little change of pace for them during their workday to give them an opportunity to take a break and spend a little time with each other. And so that's what we're celebrating. We try to break that up, of course, because of our operations. We're not able to do that, within this particular week. So we try to span that out so that our employees, including the ones in the yard, and those that certainly work on the night shift, can participate. But we're excited. I mean, of course, this is only the 43rd year of the Port Authority as an autonomous agency. It's been around a lot longer than that, but it provides us that opportunity to celebrate. And certainly moving forward in the next few years, now that we do have our bond funding, the changes you've seen in the last few years, we're going to see quite a few more with the repairs and renovations that are going to happen to our buildings, our water line replacement, our refurbishment of Gulf Pier.
Yeah.
Of course, H-Wharf, getting H-Wharf back in operation is something that we're looking forward to. And, of course, the construction of our new administration building and the eventual demolition of the existing building so that most of that area there where our existing admin building is and parking lot can be expanded into the yard to accommodate our maintenance facilities.
You got anything big going on this? I mean, obviously the things that you were talking about are interesting, but I mean, usually if you got an anniversary coming up and you try to time, some big momentous announcement to that. You got any big momentous announcements about?
No, we're just moving along, Ray. There's no big announcement. I mean, on Friday we'll provide our certificates of recognition to our employees. That will wrap up Port Week, but no, we don't have any big announcement. I mean, we've been doing an awful lot of heavy lifting in the last few years and transforming the port, and that in and of itself, has been our main mission. So nothing extraordinarily different other than, moving forward what will be close to, another $60-70 million of construction, including our grants and, of course, the projects that the port itself is funding. I mean, right now we're spending a little over $2 million just to do major asphalt repair in the yard. I thought they'd do a little patchwork, but no, they're taking up strips of areas and refurbishing them because the original yard, of course, was never designed to accommodate some of the heavy equipment that we have now, like our top lifters, and that's done a lot of damage to the asphalt over the years. So. We have a contractor out there right now doing that. We're going to be replacing all the trench drains in the old yard because of metal fatigue. After a while, those things get stressed out, and we have to, replace them for safety issues. So just regular maintenance in a big way. Because
a bunch of days at work, we'll take a break and we'll make a couple of speeches, and then everybody go back to work.
And as always, I mean, we still, even while we had the ceremony yesterday morning, we still had an operation going on. So that's a normal day, but that's what we're supposed to be doing every day.
Got any cruise ships coming in anytime soon?
Not this month, but of course towards the end of the year, as we always do, between the 31st and New Year's, we get a couple of Japanese cruise ships that come in, and we have one of our Carnival, I believe our Carnival cruise ships that's going to be coming to Guam in October of next year, which I think is pretty significant.
Yeah, I always think there's a great opportunity there that we haven't exploited completely yet. We got Hotel Wharf, maybe we ought to create a tourist wharf.
Well, once that particular facility is refurbished and put back in operation, it will very easily be able to accommodate cruise ships, and that's timing-wise what we're also looking at, because I know GVB has been very actively engaged in wanting to see how we can move that industry forward, and certainly having Hotel Wharf where it will not inconvenience the visitors now, because right now when they come into the port, they have to come through a working yard, and it requires a lot of time and effort on our part to reconfigure the yard to meet security requirements and have a safe area for the visitors to come in and out. But once we move that down to H-Wharf, that will be very easily accommodated and doesn't affect our commercial operations, and I'm sure our carriers will be happy to hear that. All of us collectively are looking forward to the additional capacity H-Wharf will provide.
6:51.
Port operations.
6:51 in the morning. I'm talking with Joanne Brown, part of Port Week. Let me ask you to put your other hat on. Are you still heading over to GMH every once in a while to help them out?
I am, and following up. I mean, there's been, progress made. I'm very happy to see that they were able to make their payments to the retirement fund so that, the employees that were eligible up at GMH could retire. I mean, that's been an ongoing problem over the years, and I think very frustrating for employees, some who have worked 35, 36 years. I know one lady in particular I'd spoken with who had been up at GMH for 36 years and needed to retire. She had a couple of grandchildren that had special health needs that she needed to, she could help her family by taking care of them because it was very expensive for them to pay for care for those children. And she goes, I can't even take, I'm going to run out of leave. And she's like, what do I do? And I thought, oh my goodness, this is just absolutely terrible. I don't think the reward for people that have invested that many years of dedication should be that, we leave you hanging and you can't retire. And even if you have other priorities, if they take off from work, they may not have an income. And that just should not be the case.
No, and I'm glad that they were able to get that done, and I hope that they don't get too far behind in the future. Any conversations about additional financial support from somewhere?
Of course, there is money included in this year's budget. It's not going to be enough. I mean, there's major CIP projects. Of course, that facility up there was built in the early 70s, and it's been, they've added on over the years. But as you saw during that most recent typhoon we had, the amount of water that they had coming down through their elevator, and just the issues of leaks with their existing roof that needs to be repaired. Those are the kind of things that are critical, but there was no additional CIP funding provided in the budget by the Guam legislature this year.
Well, I was real worried about the hospital when I read about some problems that cropped up, became very, very evident, more so because of the storm that went through. When Manghut went through, there was significant leaks from the roof. Number one, number two, it caused them to be without any working elevators for hours, and in fact, it had basically shut down the operations.
Right. I mean, what do you
send everybody to GRMC?
Up and down. GRMC. Well, it's brand new facility and everything. I mean, they have their challenges as well. They have their capacity limits as well, and it just makes it very difficult. I mean, imagine if you have a critical patient, you're going to load them and unload them, carry them up and down a stair, put them in an ambulance, and transfer them to another facility. I think it's something that we have to come to terms with at some point. I mean, I think this dragging on of not properly funding the hospital. I mean, if you mandate the hospital to provide health care services for everyone that comes through the door, whether they can pay or not, then the government needs to address how it's going to subsidize it. You just can't make these decisions and not address the financial aspect of it. And then, when the management team and the employees come down, you badger them and expect them to be the ones. I mean, they're doing a fairly good job to the degree they can. I'm sure everyone can argue, hey, you can do more in collections. But, the bulk of the revenue coming into the hospital is what the hospital generates itself from its own operations. But it's obviously not enough. And so while you have these challenges where you're juggling trying to pay vendors and keep them online, trying to get medicines, trying to keep qualified staff online, that's very difficult to do all the time, especially when the mission that they have is so critical to our community and our health care. And by not properly funding it, I mean, you're saying, okay, at one end, well, great. If you're not wanting to raise taxes, I mean, that's up to the legislature how they want to look at addressing the revenue stream. But if you don't want to do that, then you have to come up with another alternative of how you're going to fund the facility. Because at the end of the day, what ends up happening is we just decrease the quality of health care overall to our community. And look at GRMC recently. I mean, they're closing down their maternity ward that they're having there. So, okay, where does all that? Oh, that falls back to GMH.
Well, I think they've got a pretty good plan moving forward on that. Is they are going to be able to take some technology and offload it to Guam Memorial Hospital to help augment what they are doing in their labor and delivery and pediatrics. I think that's going to have a happy ending.
Well, but they made a business decision. They decided, hey, we're gonna move in this direction, and we're gonna specialize in these other areas, and we're not gonna do this. So at the end of the day, who ends up having to reabsorb that load? It's gonna be GMH.
Yeah.
So while we badger the hospital at the end of the day, I mean, when the time comes of needing that support in healthcare, I mean, we're expecting it. We're expecting that as a community. And some big decisions have to be made on how do we do that, and how do we ensure that there's enough revenue stream going through so that the healthcare people up there can focus on the patient care that they need to provide, rather than worrying, do we have the supplies, do we have the medicine, do we have the equipment? And if you look at the list of equipment up there, some of those things are way past their lifespan and unfortunately are still in operation. But you can't bank on that. There has to be a consistent ability, as we do at the port now, where we've brought it to, where when we need to replace equipment, if it's still operating, great, we can keep it as long as it's safe. But we have new equipment coming in, so that we're not in a situation where we have we have to move cargo, and we don't have enough tractors, for example. We don't have enough forklifts. We don't have enough top lifters in operation. Imagine critical medical equipment that you need for survival of the patient.
Sure.
So, I mean, we know that. It's an old story, but at the end of the, to borrow my word again, I'm going to say it the first time, at the end of the day, Ray, we still need to properly adjust funding the hospital. Otherwise, we're going to end up in this chaotic situation, no matter who you put up there to operate.
Well, and no matter who's going to be at Adelup. What an interesting problem this is going to be for the next governor of Guam. And while I've got you on the line for just a couple of seconds more, what are your thoughts about Frank and Alicia jumping in as write-in candidates in this upcoming general election?
Boy, you put me in a tough situation. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure they have their reasons, and they've made that very public. I know this weekend they had a gathering, and they made their announcement to their supporters as to their decision. And at the end of, what can we say? That's their choice to do that. I'm sure Lou and her running mate Josh probably are not that happy with it and felt that getting through the primary, we in their view they got the votes. We should be the main team, and having Frank and Alicia running out behind and saying, hey, we're still in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's not something they're happy about. But at the end of it's everybody's walk, Ray. I mean, imagine all the years of preparation. I mean, Frank Duggan came into the legislature in the 24th. That was 2 years after I first came in, and we're talking 22, 23 years ago. And he's invested so much of his life, in public service. So I can imagine at this time, including 2 gubernatorial runs previously, I'm sure this is, it's a walk I'm sure he needs to finish for himself. And, more power to anyone who runs for office, because that's a tough road. I mean, while we sit and politics is such an interesting pastime for all of us here on the island, we select our candidate and, we stay up all night watching the votes come in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough walk for anyone. I mean, all the teams, Ray and Tony running, and Lou and Josh, and certainly, Frank Duggan and Alicia Limtiaco. It's a tough walk. The sacrifice, the things you got to put up with, the patience you need to find deep inside yourself, and certainly the energy, to keep going. Because imagine your regular day, imagine that, and then having 5 or 6 functions that evening
on top of everything else, and the thick
start all over again.
Yeah, the thick black that you have to develop, the thick skin and black heart that you've got to develop in order to be able to survive something like this. We'll talk about that as I get into the little bit more political gossip. It's always fun talking with you, and happy Port Week.
Well, thank you so much, Ray. Appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. You have a good week as well.
I sure will. It's 6:59 and change. Joanne Brown from the Port Authority of Guam wears the other couple of hats in roles with Guam Memorial Hospital, and always interesting to hear what her thoughts are on politics, etc. Stand by for Fox News Live. That's coming up next on the other side of that. Kevin Kerrigan with all the big stories from the Guam Daily Post. And then we'll chat about what's happening with the economy. It wasn't a great day for the markets. We'll talk about whys and more on the other side of these.
A day-long tour of destruction. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump and the First Lady now in Georgia, getting a first-hand briefing on recovery efforts there from Hurricane Michael after spending several hours in Florida, where landfall leveled whole communities in the Panhandle.
Just white houses away. The foundations, everything gone. So we saw some areas that were hard to believe, actually hard to believe.
The president also offering encouragement to Alabama and the Carolinas, now recovering from 2 hurricanes. Michael is blamed for at least 19 deaths from Florida to Virginia. Utility crews still working to restore power to hundreds of thousands. The president sending Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to Saudi Arabia, which remains under international pressure over the suspected killing of a Saudi journalist in Turkey.
President Trump, before departing for Florida, said he had spoken to the King of Saudi Arabia, and he had firmly denied any involvement with Jamal Khashoggi's disappearance or alleged murder.
The king told me that Turkey and Saudi Arabia are working hand in hand very closely on getting to the bottom of what happened.
Sources tell Fox News that President Trump has been informed of news reports that Khashoggi may have been accidentally killed during an interrogation as part of an unauthorized attempt to abduct him and take him to Saudi Arabia.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. Khashoggi last seen entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where a joint team of Saudi and Turkish investigators began a renewed search today, although Turkey reportedly has claimed to have recorded evidence that Khashoggi was murdered and dismembered. Health and Human Services Chief Alex Azar just making this announcement.
We are proposing to require American drug companies, for the first time ever,
to include in their TV advertising the list prices of drugs paid for by Medicare or Medicaid.
This is Fox News.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Police in Maine are looking into a suspicious letter delivered to the home of Republican Senator Susan Collins, who was a key figure in the confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Bangor police investigators aren't releasing what was in the envelope, but spokesman Sergeant Wade Betters said every precaution was taken and multiple agencies were brought in.
The local hazmat team and our local fire department working with federal authorities and the U.S. Capitol Police.
Sergeant Betters says the Collins home appears to be the only place that a threat was discovered. He added that the public doesn't appear to be in any danger.
Fox's Gernal Scott, again, no information released on what was written in the letter. Today marks the anniversary of a movement that took off when two words went viral.
1 year ago, actress Alyssa Milano encouraged survivors of sexual harassment and assault to speak out by replying to a tweet with the words, "Me Too," a phrase in a movement started 11 years prior by activist Tarana Burke. Since Milano's post, Pew Research Center reveals the hashtag has been tweeted over 19 million times. Burke reflecting on its impact, posting, "I hope that I represent and stand for survivors of sexual violence in a way that makes you proud," adding, "The work is just beginning." Milano thanking Burke for being a force for good, tweeting, "Our collective pain became our collective power."
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. A new hashtag is trending, Royal Baby, after Kensington Palace confirmed Britain's Prince Harry and wife Meghan Markle are expecting their first child next spring. They were married just under 5 months ago. Somebody will take the lead in baseball's National League Championship Series tonight. The Dodgers and Brewers each won a game in Milwaukee, sending the series back to L.A., where Game 3 is tonight. Meantime, the Red Sox tied up the ALCS last night in Boston. The Astros will host Game 3 in that series tomorrow. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegly of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Hyundai Construction Equipment is sold exclusively on Guam by Morico Equipment, a market leader with proven reliability in large excavators, loaders, and forklifts. Morico Equipment, with 28 years on Guam, offers Hyundai Construction Equipment sales, rental, parts, service, and fully maintained lease finance. Hyundai Equipment is in stock on Guam. Equipment demonstrations are available on request. Contact Morico Equipment on Ipoh Road at 649-1946 or go to moricoequipment.com.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A Korean soccer player has been acquitted of all charges in connection with an alleged sexual assault of a Korean woman at the Leo Palace Resort in January. 28-year-old Byung-ho Kim found not guilty of 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct and 4 counts of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct. In his closing remarks last week to the jury, Assistant Attorney General Jeremiah Luther described the victim as a woman who was awakened in the middle of the night, half asleep, frozen by fear, when Kim, he said, forcibly took advantage of her. Jury got the case on Thursday morning. They deliberated all of Thursday and Friday, went home for the weekend, reached their verdict yesterday afternoon. Defense attorney Randy Cunliffe painted a different picture in his closing remarks last week, suggesting the woman was a gold digger who consented to having sex and later threatened to sue after being jilted following the encounter. After the verdict, Cunliffe told the Guam Daily Post that the jury apparently did not believe the woman's allegation that force was used. He said his client is very happy now that he has been acquitted and can now return to Korea and try and get his life back together again. The Guam Police Department has postponed plans to conduct an Election Day survey of the department's community-oriented policing strategy known as COPS. At a press conference yesterday afternoon at police headquarters in Tizen, GPD Chief Joseph Cruz said the survey has been pushed back until January. No specific date has been set yet. The survey is meant to measure public perception of the effectiveness of GPD's already existing community-oriented policing strategy. The Election Commission denied GPD's request to distribute the survey inside polling stations on November 6th. After concerns were raised by some that it could have a chilling effect on voters. Some suggested the department was somehow trying to influence voters to support the Republican gubernatorial ticket. However, Chief Cruz said he was disheartened by those suggestions. He said the survey was nonpartisan and non-political. The chief also denied suggestions the survey would be used to advance his own PhD thesis at Fiji's South Pacific University, which is also sponsoring the survey. Chief said his thesis would be completed by the end of this year, and the survey now won't be conducted until next year. We'll have more news after this.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Department of Public Health and Social Services has announced that medical cannabis home cultivation permit applications are now ready for distribution. A release from Public Health states that as of today, the application forms can be downloaded from Public Health's website or picked up at the Public Health Central Office in Manila. There is one application for patient cultivators, a different one for caregivers applying to grow cannabis for their patients. To qualify for a medical marijuana home cultivation permit, applicants must register with Public Health and obtain a registry ID card first. Patients must also submit proof of diagnosis from their practitioner that they are suffering from one of the illnesses qualified for treatment with medicinal marijuana. Public Health Director Leo Casil said that once the application has been completed and submitted, it should take only a few days to process it and issue the permit. A drug detector dog that helped sniff out an estimated $13 million of illicit drugs is retiring this week. Tony, the drug detector dog, has been working with Guam Customs for the last 2 years. The department credits the canine with the seizure of more than 20,000 grams of illegal narcotics. Customs spokeswoman Jessie Santos says Tony will retire after suffering a tracheal collapse that cannot be surgically corrected. The vet also found that Tony was suffering from decreased mobility and recommended that he be retired. A special ceremony for Tony is planned for Friday at Customs headquarters in Tietzen. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
And mostly cloudy, warm, isolated showers this morning, then scattered showers in the afternoon with isolated thunderstorms. Wind southeast, about 10 to 15 miles, decreasing overnights. Today's highs about 88 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Mike, we getting any of that cooler air coming in if we're only going to be hovering around 88 degrees?
Yeah, it looks like the models are backing off an intrusion of cooler air as they were hinting at last week. So don't think anything cool going to be making it in through the area. One thing I am a little concerned about, I was thinking about as I got in the car this morning, and things look nice and quiet out there right now, but we've got one more uptick of the Madden-Julian oscillation that I told you about a couple of months ago, and we should be getting into a peak active proportion of that entity towards the end of the month, and that always brings about heightened tropical activity. So we're probably going to have one more run before it's all said and done.
What's it called again?
Season. The Madden-Julian oscillation.
Sounds like a sports game the kids are playing. Okay, gotcha. That's news and weather together at 7:14 here on The Point.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
It's 7:14. This is the Ray Gibson Show, and it's brought to you by King's Restaurant. And they've got a great daily lunch special every day. How do I know it's great? Because they keep doing it. If it was no good, then they'd have to come up with another lunchtime plan, right? But the great lunchtime special, yesterday was Salisbury steak. Today, it's beefsteak chamorro. You like that? Yeah. Oh, don't like it? They got the pick 2, pick 3 combo. Come on, you'll find something on the menu you're going to love at King's.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Portions of the show also brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with, yes, American President Lines. They're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy, never been a better time to go solar. American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. Can he go on? Can he possibly do this with the single breath that he took? Yes, Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for your open heart surgery needs.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
It's 7:16 right now. What am I supposed to do? Oh, the hot pastrami. It's still there. This is a revelation. They're still doing hot pastrami over at Subway, which indicates to me that we got to be getting close to the edge of this special promotional limited time only feast. Hot pastrami meat, and they slice it up. It's all lean and tasty, and then we'll put some of that in your whatever bread you like, with whatever condiments you want, whatever toppings that you want. It really is the big deal, but only for a limited time at Subway. Eat fresh.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Anna Kilroy on Facebook Live. Bobby Titano says, hi, Raymond and Kevin and Mike. Johnny Atulai and Bobby watching. Legendary name, that Johnny Atulai. Yes. What you been catching these days? You haven't given up on that, have you? Who else? Lillian Cruz, Renee Ogle, good morning to you. Evelyn Uggan, Renee and Pat Tigui. Nate Horn says, this is Guam, everybody's connected to everybody else. I think that's in regards to the statement that I read from attorney Tom Fisher, who, like Jerry Roberts, has no hair on the head. Just is talking about...
He's in the Brotherhood?
Could be. Oh, you haven't seen?
I just... No.
You don't watch the news?
I don't have time, Ray. I spend all of my free time writing for you. I don't have any time to watch television.
Certainly appreciate it. But yeah, if you watch television, you'll see Tom Fisher. He's usually hanging out with Ray Tenorio these days and writing letters to the Attorney General. Anyway, so he's one of the things he's writing about is Mr. McDonald, and there's a picture. He's seen a photograph of Mr. McDonald socializing with candidate Lulian Guerrero, and then draws pictures, a line from that picture to a Brennan, and then that splits off to a couple of other Brennans, one over at the court, one over at someplace else, and that's the conspiracy that Mr. Fisher believes is afoot, and why Mr. McDonald over at the Attorney General's office has cleverly timed the complaint that was made out against Ray Tenorio. Yep, and so anyway, that's what my friend Nate Horn is talking about, and I don't know, there's how do you want to say it? Is if there's Occam's razor, is that what it is? Is that the thing that people refer to? Sometimes the most obvious thing, the obvious answer, is usually the correct answer, and I think that's what Tom is shooting for in there. It's 7:18. Jerry Roberts going to be doing Extra Point Live, but let's take a look at what happened on the numbers and in the markets first. A lot of people concerned about what's happening with Sears. They filed for bankruptcy protection early this morning, announcing the retailer has done this. Sears Holding Banks have agreed to provide Sears with a bankruptcy loan. Sears says that Eddie Lampert's hedge fund will provide $300 million in bankruptcy financing. Lampert will also step down as CEO but remain as chairman. Under the bankruptcy plan, the executive role will be replaced by a 3-person committee, though he will remain as chairman of the board. According to court filings, Sears Holdings lists assets of $1 billion to $11 billion, liabilities $10 billion to $50 billion. You want to talk about upside down, huh?
Just a couple of bucks here.
Sears had a debt payment of $143 million due, and they couldn't make it. Yep. And that's just the way it works. Yep. So the concern is that this will spread all the way out to Guam and be cause for closure on Guam. Although a list of 100 and some odd stores that they are going to be closing does not include Guam at this time.
Not going to happen.
You don't think so?
Not going to happen.
What are you looking at? You got pills?
The doctor gave me a prescription. He said I came down with Madden-Julian oscillation. So I have no idea what that is.
That's nice. Does that have little droopy eyes on it? Those are my favorites. I like my actual favorite ones are the ones that say avoid alcohol when you're taking this medicine.
Yeah, you
not
take those
say,
with a beer.
Yeah, not the ones that say don't have alcohol with it. You cannot have this with alcohol. I hate those. The ones that it's just avoid.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I can chase it with a beer.
That's right. That's what I'm going to wash it down with.
Hey,
all right.
Now, on just for a moment before we get into the stuff about nepotism and all that. On the thing about Kmart.
Yeah.
It's a Chapter 11. It's bankruptcy protection.
Yes.
It allows people to reorganize. And Lampert is already doing some of that. By the way, I read something last night online about this guy. He should have come out of this smelling like a big-time rose.
Really?
His hedge fund is growing by leaps and bounds as a result of all this stuff coming down. So the thing about it is that we're not going to lose this Kmart. Okay. Out of all of this will come a smaller entity. And that smaller entity could be in many, many forms because they have a lot of assets, tons of land and things, brand names that they're peeling off, and they may not peel all of them off. The point is that Sears, whatever it morphs into, with Kmart or without Kmart, I think that building's going to stay open.
You think?
And if not from off-island interests, I think there's some pretty wise folks here who've been into retail in past years and other businesses who will find a way to keep that open because of all those tourists you're talking about coming in. And I mean, how much? What does that building make a year?
Oh, I don't know. I heard a number as high as $98 million. All
right. So is anybody?
Yeah, I heard about $100 million profit.
You can let those doors close? I don't think so. I don't think.
How about,
at least not for long.
How valuable is the brand?
Oh, the Kmart brand?
Yeah. I mean,
today?
could something else go in there? Could we rebuild the townhouse? You want to do Gibson's? You want to go back and find the big boxes that we remember from the 70s and 80s?
Yeah. Now, if you want to go into that conversation, then there are people on the island named Jones.
Yeah.
who by the way,
got a car dealership right in front.
How to do retail. So if they want to be involved with it, I don't see any reason why the townhouse couldn't be resurrected. I'm not talking for them, for Bob and Jeff and all that, but there's some people here who understand business. The SM people understand business.
Yep.
The people at the Micronesia Mall understand how to do retail. I mean, there's lots of folks out here that can do something like that.
So something else could come along. Don't worry. As the man says, the doors ain't going to be closing anytime soon. No. Let's take a look at what happened on the market. S&P 500 at 2750, off by 16 points. NASDAQ loses 66 to close at 7,430. Dow Jones Industrial Average at 25,250. They lost 89 points. They're just having a hard time recovering from that dump that they took last week. But they'll come back up. FTSE's at 7,029. The Nikkei at 22,271. That's off by 423 points, just a little under 2% for the Japanese trading. Hang Seng Index at 25,445. Another big jump down for them, 356 points. And the Shanghai Index is down by about 38 points. Looking at oil today, $71.72. And if you're looking at Tapas, and we all should, $84.02 is where Tapas closed up today. That was yesterday, they're $84.56. Today, $84.02. Moving in the right direction just very slowly. At 7:23, that's what happened in the market. Shall we find out what's going on in the round mind of Jerry Roberts? We take requests. Elwin sent in a request yesterday on Facebook Live, and here is the response on that request. Riffing it today is Jerry Roberts.
And the topic is nepotism. And Elwin, you may not like the road I'm going down. It'll take 2 days to get there. But here it is on The Point. It deals with that topic of nepotism. Before we do anything else, let's define the term. It comes from the Italian word nepotismo, which is based on the Latin word nepos, meaning nephew. Since the Middle Ages and until the 17th century, some Catholic popes and bishops who had taken vows of chastity and therefore usually had no legitimate offspring of their own gave their nephews such positions of preference as were often accorded by fathers to son. That's where it comes from. Now, I know some folks want me to discuss and beat on Gov Guam and how it impacts performance, etc. First of all, I'm not an expert on the government of Guam, nor their issues, nor do I know which families may have used nepotism to advance their own interests. Generally, the heat generated by the topic comes from people who feel they or a family member lost out on a job, promotion, or other benefit that went to a relative of somebody else. Others may be concerned in a general sense when they feel the government isn't operating at a high level, needs to reduce expenses, or is losing good employees who feel that the quote-unquote system prevents them from getting ahead. I went online and I found an article from the East-West Center Pacific Islands Report, April of 2013, where then Public Auditor Doris Brooks said there is no specific law that prohibits relatives from working in the same agency. It's only where it becomes an issue of supervision. Brooks said it's not illegal, it's not improper, but is it good to have in terms of good governance? I also found the job application from the Department of Administration, and it read this way. Spouses and persons within the first degree of blood relationship, that's like spouse and brother and sister, or son and daughter and stuff like that, may not be employed in the same department or agency in a supervision subordinate relationship, and where two or more family members under the same household are prohibited. Exception exception to this rule may be made for the good of government service. Keep that in mind. Now, I don't know if laws have been updated to change any of this, but the last line provides an escape clause if someone wanted to get around the basic rule. I hired additional family members for the good of the people of Guam. We can snicker at that, but could we disprove it? Now, some basic questions. How much of this goes on really? How many government positions have been given out because of family ties? Number two, has government performance suffered as a result? What proof is there that a specific downturn or failing on the part of the government can be attached to nepotism? Would such proof stand up in court or only in the court of public opinion? We'll have more on this subject tomorrow. More questions, thoughts, opinions, counter-opinions, and maybe a way to deal with it in the public and the private sector. It's a tough topic, and I appreciate Elwin for suggesting it. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 in the Ray Gibson Show, where nepotism has never been an issue, by the way. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Rico Blancaflor writes on nepotism, but if they're highly qualified, why not? And that's what you have discovered. You're a highly qualified brother or sister, and I don't see any reason why that should prevent you from doing great service for the people.
As long as the playing field is not tilted one way or the other. And by the way, tomorrow we talk about how to make sure that doesn't happen. And how to make it work if that's the road you decide to go down.
Elwin Chimpaco Kitano writes in, thanks for the information, Jerry. We need to understand the line between what you know and who you are related to. And there it is. You got thoughts on this Facebook Live, or you can send them to me at raygibsonshow@gmail.com. WhatsApp us at 988-5874, or go to guamtraining.com, and under Contact or About Us, I forget where you put it, there is a link that will take you into Jerry Roberts' email box, where you'll never, ever want to leave. It's so much fun. It's like it's just sitting in a warm bath. I'm in Jerry Roberts' email inbox. How fun.
Well, I'm taking my prescriptions today. What was that? What's that? What did I come down with? Madden, Julian oscillation, right?
Mine like a steel trap. He remembers. You can say it to me, and again, in 30 seconds later, I'll forget. All right, that's what we got. Jerry Roberts doing the Extra Point live here this morning. We've got live news and traffic. The usual spots, 10 and 15, and over on Route 3 around Ukadu, and heading up to Anderson Air Force Base, thickening up and slowing down right about now, but I'll get you some details in right now traffic pretty soon.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just swipe your Power Pass key fob when you purchase Circle K Premium Coffee, any size. And after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
Yeah, we're still playing around with the Madden Julian oscillation jokes here in the studio, and when we're not, then we're talking about eating goat salmon and cactus hide over at Goat Salmon. What is it? Sounds good though. 7:29 in the morning. Is there traffic? Yeah. As I said, thickening up in some of the usual places. As I said, heading up to Anderson Air Force Base. Then you might have a little bit of traffic up around the back road, up around Jigo Village in itself, the actual village. All right, coming down to the south part of the village into Waiseng Song. We're going to watch traffic build there. A little bit of traffic from Fatima Mobile northbound, oddly. And then you've got a line of traffic in both directions over by Ukadu, but a little bit slower as you're heading towards Estumbo right now. 8, 10, and 16 starting to thick up on the way into that intersection on Route 8 and on Route 10. Route 10, the drama continues as you get a little bit closer to the intersection that takes everybody into GCC and UOG, etc. Route 8 clear into the downtown Hagutnya area until you get to about where is that? About the Mighty McMobile and into Harvest. Things might be thickening up for you a little bit there, as well as a little bit of a slowdown right in front of Wendy's in the Agana Shopping Center. But I think that's just could be just a light. At any rate, that's what's happening in traffic at 7:30. Headlines next.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin, Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Kazendo! He's chiming in a lot this morning, and we're talking about what will replace Kmart if Kmart ends up closing. And the answer is, as they've done in the past with virtually every mom and pop store on Guam, it won't be called Kmart, it will be called the new Kmart. Run by the Korean family down the street. You know what I'm talking about, right? Mary Cruz is there. Kaz writes in, bring back Gibson's brand. What an interesting brand that was. An interesting kind of store that was as well. And the people that ran it. I mean, some folks that are legendary in the retail business from Servco and back in those days. You start talking about those names and the memories will come chiming back in. And that's what retail was like in the 1970s when they opened that in 1975. I personally had a good time with the concept of Gibson's. It was a nice place to shop, great place to kill an afternoon in the olden days. And its name was Gibson's. And literally every person upon meeting me would say, do you own the store? And the answer would always be, why, yes, I do.
Where was it located?
Why, yes, I do. Where GPO is.
Okay. Right on.
So imagine GPO without walls.
Okay.
That was Gibson's.
Oh, nice.
That was, I mean, the whole thing was a gigantic department store from back in the old days when we did gigantic department stores. You know, clothes over here and records over there and appliances over there. And they also made for kiosks. There were kiosks. There was guys that sold comic books back in the olden days. And Bill Hagen and the Hagen family continues the dynastic work. They're in the solar rooftop business. And Bill had this guy, serial entrepreneur. One of my favorite Bill Hagen businesses there was he did frames. So you would go, like if you were in the record department over at Gibson's, you'd buy a poster, right? An Iron Maiden poster, or Boston album cover poster or something like that. And then you would take it over to Bill's place, and he would put it in a frame, stick some glass on it, put some foam core behind it, and then 20 minutes you took the thing home, and it looked like you bought it in an art gallery. And then he also got into the art business. I've got at the house, at Mom's house, I have Nagel. I have a Nagel. And you might, older folks will remember, Nagel was the artist that did very provocative, sexy, but not dirty sexy images for Playboy magazine.
Okay.
You know the guy, you know the artwork, and you can see it in your head. The Duran Duran album cover, right?
Okay,
The real. That's Nagel did that. Anyway, so I've got a Nagel at the house, and if you turn the back of it around, there'll be a Hagen sticker on it because he's the guy that put that in the frame. It was an interesting place, and of course, the retail has changed a whole lot since then, and there aren't a whole lot of those kinds of department stores around. It closed up, Townhouse closed up, and we're left with Kmart, and that's why we have this conversation. Kevin's been around a long time. He remembers the place. 7:34 in the morning, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, opening arguments heard yesterday in district court in the retrial of Raymond Martinez and Juanita Mosier. Martinez and Mosier facing methamphetamine distribution and money laundering charges. They're alleged to have conspired to bring 8 pounds of meth from California to Guam. Their first trial ended in a mistrial in May. In his opening arguments yesterday, Assistant U.S. Attorney Fred Black said that the prosecution has videotapes of the defendants talking about their plans to bring the meth to Guam in cars, in the mail, and even in a water softener system. Key prosecution witness is former Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency Lieutenant Henry Alvandia, who the prosecution says was recruited by the defendants to help bring the meth to Guam. Defense attorney Pete Paris, however, called the government's case against Martinez and Mosier rotten. He said there's law enforcement corruption in the case and suggested that his clients had been set up. Students and staff at Simon Sanchez High School mourning the deaths of 2 fellow students who died in a car crash in Jonah over the weekend. The boys, identified by fellow students as Josiah Blas and Timothy Uwe, both boys 17 years old. DOE spokeswoman Issa Baza said additional counseling was provided to the students yesterday. The school's flag flew at half-staff yesterday as well, and a moment of silence was held for the two students. Uwe and Blas were passengers in a black Toyota Corolla being driven by a 19-year-old. Vehicle ran off Route 4 in Jonia and crashed into the bush late Saturday night. The 19-year-old was treated for his injuries and later released. An airman on pretrial release following accusations that he raped a 9-year-old girl in July has now been jailed after he traveled to the mainland U.S. without permission from the court. 33-year-old Luis Anthony Vargas appeared in Superior Court yesterday for a pretrial hearing in front of Judge Anita Sicola. Vargas was on pretrial release, confined to his home in Manilao and under orders not to leave Guam without the court's permission. However, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations found that he did leave Guam, traveled to New Mexico via Hawaii. When he got back, he was taken into custody. Judge Sicola revoked his release while he awaits trial. Vargas's next court appearance is set for Friday. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 7:37, Kevin. That's iConnect time. Swing by iConnect or give them a call at 888-8888 and find out why they are the practical choice in telecommunications. Great rates on mobile and internet and push-to-talk plans, too. 888-8888. We find out whether I'm pronouncing this right here, because I don't want to make any mistakes. This is Wendy's. This is a big, important client here for the radio station. I want to make sure if I'm doing their end, pronouncing the thing correct.
Yeah.
So did we decide?
They decided to change it to whatever you call it.
Okay, all right. So it's the Sawsome sauce.
Exactly.
So as in awesome. Wendy's awesome sauce was so popular they're putting it on a burger. The new awesome bacon classic cheeseburger, stacked with Applewood smoked bacon on a beefy patty, melted cheese, all the vegetable fixings, and now Wendy's signature awesome sauce. Wendy's new awesome Bacon Classic. Have it in a single, double, or triple. This is a burger worth bragging about. Wendy's, quality is our recipe.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear. Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help, using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
Is right now traffic? Right now, Route 10. That's where you can go to the University of Guam and GCC, that intersection that is southbound, just to make that left-hand turn. Seems to be backing up a little bit. 8, 10, and 16 starting to busy up here. I got traffic in both directions on Route 8 in the vicinity of that intersection. Plus traffic coming from the post office is beginning to thick up. Traffic coming off of Route 10 onto that intersection is starting to get thick as well. Looking at traffic in front of Guam International Airport, that one intersection, that one light just before you can make that bendy turn towards Home Depot is going slow. I've got slowing down traffic over by Ukadu, and that's going to spill onto the intersection of 1 and 3 here in just minutes. It's, what time is it? 7:39. Yeah, I think we're peak drive right now. Traffic getting into Anderson Air Force Base, a little bit heavy at the gate, but you'll make it through. Nothing in front of Big Navy and nothing right now in front of Navy Hospital. It's right now traffic at 20 till on the point.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
You know, when I first got in the radio, talk radio business, I'd read stories like this and go, wow, it's amazing. That's what we should do is send somebody from the government of Guam out to the States and have them buy a whole bunch of Mega Millions jackpot tickets, and then we'd win the jackpot and, $500, $600 million, bring that money back to Guam, and that'd solve all of our problems. But I think our problems these days are bigger than $654 million. That's where the Mega Million jackpot is right now, $654 million. Wednesday's Powerball is $345 million. Last time I was in the States, last time I was stateside, I went with my brother-in-law. We went to the gas station, and I got one of those things. And I got to tell you, it was kind of exciting. Not buying the coupon, not buying the gizmo, but the lottery ticket, but being in the lottery, and then the next morning, going to the website and seeing what the numbers were. Now, naturally, I didn't have any of the numbers. I not one single number on my lottery ticket matched any of the numbers that were called for any amount of money. But it was fun to play. Mm-hmm. It was fun to play. And one of these days, we'll get into that conversation about why we could do another one of these. Remind me, did we ever do that? Because I know we've talked about it since you and I have been together, right, about doing that. And I said the guy to talk to would be Simon Sanchez, because Simon Sanchez was part of a lottery program that we actually had here on Guam back in the old days when there was a townhouse and a Gibson's. And the two of them existed peacefully in our tiny little sleepy community of Guam. Maybe one of these days we'll get around to doing that again and see what kind of numbers that we can come up with. There is a lottery here on Guam. You can play it, and there have been people that have won it in the past, some fairly significant dollars. But we have to share it with somebody else. And I don't know. There was a conversation that we had, and one of these days I'll dig out the notes and go look at it again. So we're talking earlier about Kmart's and Walmart's and Targets and all of that. My baby sister Mana with a pleasant reminder of growing up. And the phrase that we all still, I think some of us say, when you run into somebody and you casually notice that their zipper is down. I think we were all raised here on Guam to say,
flying low.
No. The line here on Guam is your townhouse is open. I don't know why. Why is that? It can't be just my family thing, because I've heard it said 1,000 times by 100. Well, not to me 1,000 times. I'm pretty careful about making sure that I am not flying low. But that was our phrase. Your townhouse is open when you notice that somebody's zipper is down. And there is an answer, by the way. And the answer is it doesn't close until 9. Depending on what day of the week it is. 888-8255
Nowadays,
is the telephone
you'd say
number.
it's okay because it's an Airbnb.
Hey, my buddy Vince Akimoto is on the line. Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Hey, Ray, your townhouse is open.
Doesn't close till 9. Isn't that a great memory? I remember being disappointed when they closed it down, because we'd have to find another way to say it.
Did we just regress to 6th grade?
Yes, we did. It's fun.
And that's the thing. It's not a great memory, because you'd be in 6th grade and somebody would say that in middle class and everybody would laugh, right? It's a feeling of humiliation.
It's you know what? You just live with it. Just love it. Embrace it. Embrace it. Why not? So what did Joanne Brown say in between the 5 at the end of the days and she caught herself a couple of times. Did you see that? She caught it because I gave her a hard time about it last week or 2 weeks ago, and now she catches herself just before she's going to say at the end of the day, I've solved one of our long-standing problems, ladies and gentlemen. You hear that? Ray Gibson on the point figured out the strategy to resolve that issue. What do you want me to fix now?
She still said it 5 times, though, so you still got some work to do.
Dude, we've counted up to 13.
Okay, well, she's getting better, but we do appreciate all Joanne Brown, Senator Brown's hard work at GMH. I guess she's been there now for 6 months, while she's also been still detailed to running the commercial port, which has been going through a lot of big changes. I think they floated a huge bond while she was also
$73 million.
Yeah, save GMH. So, I mean, Senator Brown has been doing a lot of wonderful things, or at least participating in a lot of wonderful conversations. But if I get the gist of what she was saying today, is that GMH is still broken and the funding for GMH has not been resolved, and they're still having difficulty making payroll, paying their vendors, and doing all the necessary things to run the hospital at the end of the day. Is that? I mean, did I get that? Because
I think you've adequately paraphrased it at the end of the day.
Yeah. So just to be very clear, as much as we appreciate Joanne, doing double duty or whatever you call it when you have two jobs, it's not working. I mean, we the last time we had this conversation, everybody was up in arms because there was a hearse parked in front of the legislature, and there were doctors accusing the administration of being corrupt, and the administration was being lambasted by B.J. Cruz. I mean, the only thing that changed now is that B.J. Cruz is the public auditor, and I'm almost certain that he forgot to do one really important thing before he left the legislature, and that was to approve GMH's budget request of, I believe it was $250 million for 2018. So as of October 1st, if BJ didn't do his job, he just left the GMH administration with an approved budget for a record amount of $250 million. Yet Joanne Brown is calling today on October 16th to tell us that the hospital doesn't have enough money. Am I hearing this correctly?
Now, I'm trying to remember what some of BJ's last steps were before he left the legislature, and I believe he voted and supported legislation that would take some of the amnesty money and port it over to Guam Memorial Hospital.
Right, and I think the only job he really has, and all the other senators, is to control the purse strings and therefore to approve a budget, and then the executive branch is supposed to implement it. But we're now hearing a major member of the executive branch complaining that GMH still doesn't have enough money, yet their budget request was an astounding record amount of money, which was in the middle of an astounding open hearing or public debate or crucifixion of the administration for them mismanaging a tremendous amount of money last year. I mean, if we all remember correctly, they apparently had been given money to fix an electrical panel about 3 years ago, and they never spent it. And then Benita Maglonia tells us everybody's going to die. So nobody died. GPA fixed the electrical panel, and apparently everything's fine until a fire erupts on a Friday evening. And although they still say it wasn't a fire, apparently JACO still says we're investigating it. So It's now October 16th, and I'm just hoping that maybe somebody will call a special meeting before we have this election, because we have now Joanne Brown openly declaring the hospital still to be in a shambles despite this record amount of money. So apparently money was not the solution. And we're still confused because the hospital hasn't gotten accreditation, yet there's still a large number of people being paid at the hospital to do something. And if I'm remembering correctly, we got our taxes raised to help the hospital. So it all sounds like there's money at the hospital, but there's no solutions. I just wish a group of like-minded people would get together this week, maybe sit down with some of the gubernatorial candidates and try to ask really hard questions about how to solve this problem, because I think the people of Guam are still using the Guam Memorial Hospital to have babies, to take care of their injuries after a car accident, and also to say goodbye to people who have died.
Yeah.
And so when they look around and the hospital's broken, and then Joanne Brown, Senator Brown, comes on the air and says that the hospital's broke and doesn't have enough money, even though its budget is $250 million for 130 beds that are not always open or functional. And
so you got to ask the question: Where's all the dough going? Well, I asked that question, and it's not just specific to Guam Memorial Hospital. I mean, I ask a kind of a larger question: is what kind of money did the government of Guam bring in? It was $1 billion revenues that the government of Guam is supposed to be generating. It's near $1 billion here, and for all that kind of money and some incredible spend years, receivables years, I'm trying to figure out what we've got to show for it. I mean, a lot of salaries that got paid. And we had a fun fest pack, and we've got all these little buildings in what used to be the parking lot at Paseo. But after that, I'm trying to figure out what else we've got to show for all of the money that we got coming in.
Well, we got Pudding over in Washington, D.C., working real hard for something.
Well, she's on speed dial with the White House.
Yeah.
The White House has her on speed dial.
That's terrific. That's great. I'm sure $110,000.
Yeah. Kevin looked up the numbers here. The figures that are there for Guam Memorial Hospital, that's $30 million, right? Where'd that money go? What's the source of that revenue? Is that
the general
budget?
fund? Yeah, they didn't get. They asked for.
They asked for 250.
Million,
Yeah,
but they
I mean
only got
that's very standard. So I don't think they got the kind of money that you think they did.
Well, the thing is that debate. I mean, that answer. What's the amount? Because we're looking for what the actual amount is that the hospital has. Either way, they asked for a lot of money, and apparently Joanne Brown says today that they don't have enough to buy medicines, repair outdated medical equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going into this election 2 weeks away. We're going to vote for a new governor, and she's telling us the current administration has failed to fix the hospital. Actually, they did worse than that. They broke the hospital because it was accredited when they came in, and now 8 years later, it's broken, and it may not be safe. And now GRMC, who doesn't pay any taxes because of this administration, has now dumped apparently a money-losing part of their practice, the neonatal care and OB, onto GMH to take over, because apparently it's not part of their business plan to lose money in that part of the thing. But again, you missed my subtle hint that a bunch of really smart people should get together this week before the election to ask really tough questions of the political candidates, like Joanne Brown and her colleagues.
There's a debate.
Your townhouse is open. Yeah.
Yeah. I know everybody's been doing some debate prep. Now is that Dr. Shea's debate?
This is the Guam Medical Association debate. It's at the Hyatt at 6:30 on Thursday, and this will be the opportunity for folks like Joanne Brown and anybody else who's brave enough to show up to meet with the doctors, the nurses, everybody who actually cares. And apparently, on each side of the political aisle, on the Democrats, there's apparently 175 tickets that have been bought by them and 175 by the Republicans. So there'll be this partisan crowd I guess, providing the Bose stereo for the people in the middle who are going to have to hear all the cheering and clapping. But, the concern is, though, that apparently there's a third group that wants in, and there's really no, I guess, room at the inn. So I don't know if they're going to try to crash the party, but this thing's been sold out for about 2 weeks already, so it's really going to be tough for anybody to get in, except, of course, Ray Gibson. But the point of it all is GMH is still on fire. There has been no rectification of the severe problems that we were all debating not too long ago. I think we just got shell-shocked by the sheer magnitude of the problem. And then a $250 million budget was proposed that, according to Governor Calvo, that's all they needed was money. They only needed money, and everything would be just fine.
I think that's contrary to what we saw in the reports from the Joint Commission and concerns that were expressed by CMS.
Let's debate it on Thursday. Let's prove it. I'm sure Lieutenant Governor Tenorio has been well briefed as to the actual monies, and hopefully I'll have good news, because if he doesn't, then he shouldn't be the next governor.
Kind of a wasted effort if the Lieutenant Governor of Guam doesn't walk into a debate with very good news, you think?
I would hope that he'd have a tremendous amount of news. So then, maybe the JACO people will be following him. Because, again, the CMS people, I think, are still investigating that fire. So that, one thing we did learn from that last debate is apparently
CMS told Peter John and Benita they were off the hook. Everything is all right. They're looking into things. We've got the corrective action. We're not going to be pulling your certification.
You are not being told the truth. They said after the fire that occurred that they were going to investigate that now, because they were too busy investigating things from last year that Peter John never told the board about. That's the thing, is the administration has been not telling the board members what's been going on, much less anybody else. So no, they're not out of the woods. They are in trouble. And according to Joanne Brown this morning, they're in big trouble. So I think the debate on Thursday should gather the attention of everybody, and that was actually the real purpose of this call.
Well, I appreciate the reminder. You could have just called in and said, "Hey, we got the debate coming up on Thursday, 6:30 at the Hyatt." But that'll be interesting. Remind me to talk to somebody about how we're going to be able to watch that. Whether that's going to be on television, some kind of live link on TV, or Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or what?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Find out for me and get back to me, Doc.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hey, I need a referral.
That's right. You did ask me for that publicly on the air, and I wasn't sure if you were kidding. So you need
I'm serious. I got a little crick in my neck. It won't go away. So I want to go see the neuro guys over at GRMC. Can you just give me a referral?
Yes, sir. I'll make that happen. Although now you're going to set a precedent. I'm probably going to call from everybody else. Thank you for opening up that opportunity.
All right, Doc. I'll see you pretty soon.
Bye-bye.
It's telemedicine, right? If I ask him on it's telecommunications, it's all of that. It's just one of those things. I know, I almost guarantee I know what it is. The fact of the matter is that my producer is 90 degrees to my right. My partner in the news is 90 degrees to my left, and I do a whole lot of this.
So your spinal cord has been growing.
Of a 4-hour show.
You've been working out your spinal cord.
Yes, I wish I was wearing looser pants here.
What you really need is a home cultivation license.
Ah!
There you go. That's what you should have asked him for.
Ah! God, I missed that. How did I miss it? You're right. Can I just, let me just riff on this for a second. This is a big story, guys. This is a huge, turn my microphone back on. I'm riffing here. So we got all of this, all of these other stories. Remind me to talk about the rheumatologist is going to be getting together at the Tamuling Senior Center this coming Friday. But this, in my mind, is probably one of the biggest pieces of news stories that we've got. And thank you very much for reminding me. The Department of Public Health has completed now the home cultivation permit forms, which means that those of you that are suffering from any number of maladies, there's a list, and would like to pray the government relief in the form of medicinal marijuana, may go to the Department of Public. In fact, you can get it online. You can go online right now and get it, dphss.guam.gov. And there is, on the front end of that webpage, there's popular forms. Don't go there. Go up to where it talks about medicinal marijuana, up on the top border, the top menu, and then it will take you to a place, and then in that place, there's a variety of forms that you can download. The one that you're looking for is Patient Home Cultivation Permit, and the application, and it's one page. It's just one page. We're not asking for anything crazy here. Patient information. Name, date of birth, phone, residence, name of the owner of the property where your marijuana will be cultivated and or stored, the physical address and location of proposed cultivation and or storage sites, so your house, right? You know your home address. Then it asks for some practitioner information, and if needed, the primary caregiver information. It asks for your practitioner's name and phone number and address so the FBI will know where they are. And written certification submitted, yes or no. And then you sign this part, and there's a little pledge, like the Unity Pledge.
At this point, I know of only one doctor who will actually prescribe you.
I pledge not to divert cannabis to anyone who is not allowed to possess cannabis pursuant to Public Law 34-125. That's it. That's the pledge.
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
You qualified patient signature, you put the date on it, and there's a thing down at the bottom that says for official use only, where they authorize the permit number, the date issued, expiration date, registration, authorization for use of cultivation site. Somebody's got to sign off on that storage site. Officials, initials, and date. That's it. One page. There are 5K applications that are more complicated than this. And this is the point of the riff, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably the most un-Gov Guam-like thing I've seen in a long time. This was a bill just 2 weeks ago. It's been signed into law, and there is already actionable paperwork on the website. And I am absolutely blown away, gobsmacked, because, frankly, I thought it would be another 5 years before somebody got around to something that everybody could agree on to get the patients a little bit closer to being able to light it up. Way to go, Leo. Way to go, Louise. Way to go, team. We'll talk about this a little bit more in the next hour. Or maybe we'll come up with something else even more interesting. I'll get a better offer. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG. Hagutnya. 93.3. The Point. Here's Fox News.
Surveying the damage. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump spending part of the day in parts of the South ravaged by Hurricane Michael.
This hurricane happened very quickly. In fact, it was a storm. Nobody thought it was a big deal, and then all of a sudden it started and then became a Category 4 happened very quickly.
The president speaking at Robbins Air Force Base in Georgia. He's also visiting a farm where he will meet those who lost crops in the storm. Also in Georgia, the president talked about efforts to find out what happened to journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, President Trump says Khashoggi's disappearance is a terrible situation, and he doesn't like it one bit.
We're working very close with Saudi Arabia and with Turkey, and they're working together to figure out what happened. And they want to know what happened also. So a lot of people are working on it.
Khashoggi visited the Saudi consulate in Istanbul 2 weeks ago, but no one saw him leave. Turkish authorities suspect Khashoggi met his end there. Saudi Arabia's king denied any knowledge of what may have happened, but Khashoggi is known for criticizing the royal regime. The president sending Secretary of State Pompeo to meet with King Salman in the hope of getting answers. Lisa?
Steve, the Cherokee Nation releasing a statement in response to DNA results released today by Senator Elizabeth Warren, revealing she has some Native American heritage. The statement reading in part, a DNA test is useless to determine tribal citizenship. Stocks stumbled at the end of the day.
After the bell, the Dow fell 89 points. The Nasdaq fell 66, and the S&P 500 gave up 16 points. Weighing on the market, another disappointing retail sales report, and a 2% drop for Apple shares after Goldman Sachs warned of slowing demand in China. Even Bank of America, which reported higher profits and revenue in the third quarter, fell almost 2%. The financial sector faring the worst today.
Lauren Simonetti with the Fox Business Network on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. This is Fox News.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
And a Fox News alert now. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen has died at the age of 65. That's according to his statement from his family. Once again, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen has died at the age of 65. That's according to a statement from his family. Police in Maine looking into a suspicious letter that was delivered to the home of Republican Senator Susan Collins.
Bangor police investigators aren't releasing what was in the envelope, but spokesman Sergeant Wade Betters said every precaution was taken and multiple agencies were brought in.
The local hazmat team and our local fire department working with federal authorities and the U.S. Capitol Police.
Sergeant Betters says the Collins home appears to be the only place that a threat was discovered. He added that the public doesn't appear to be in any danger. The letter will be processed to see if the contents could have threatened the health or life of the senator. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Power has been turned off to tens of thousands of customers in Northern California in an unprecedented step to prevent wildfires amid rising winds and official warnings of extreme fire danger. Pacific Gas and Electric began turning off the lights in California's wine country and other areas near the San Francisco Bay Area last night. A one-time household name in financial trouble.
Sears has filed for bankruptcy reorganization, which means the chain will stay open, at least for now. The Chapter 11 filing means the bankruptcy court will run the company. Hedge fund manager Edward Lampert will step down as CEO but will remain chairman. There are approximately 700 Sears and Kmart stores remaining. It plans to close 142 of them near the end of the year. Sears and Kmart employ approximately 70,000 people. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
MGM's reported nearly $27 million in revenue during the first full month of operation at its casino in Massachusetts. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
Meet all the candidates up close and personal and find out why they deserve your vote. On Saturday, October 27th, you can meet them face-to-face during Micronesia Mall's one-on-one with the candidates. From 1 to 4 p.m., you can ask the tough questions, exchange views, express your concerns, or just get to know your candidates better. Hosted by Ray Gibson and broadcast on 93.3 The Point. Go one-on-one with the candidates. Saturday, October 27th, only at Micronesia Mall.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times, or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Docomo Pacific is making the Better Together bundle even better. 2 great services plus more. Get unlimited local calls, SMS, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet for $109 a month. Sign up today and get free installation and choose between a free Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, or $100 off select devices. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Guam Police Department has postponed plans to conduct an Election Day survey of the department's community-oriented policing strategy known as COPS. At a press conference yesterday afternoon at police headquarters in Tizan, GPD Chief Joseph Cruz said the survey has been pushed back until January. No specific date has been set yet. The survey is meant to measure public perception of the effectiveness of GPD's already existing community-oriented policing strategy embodied by the Mandanya Drug Task Force, among other programs. The Election Commission denied GPD's request to distribute the survey inside polling stations on November 6 after concerns were raised that it could have a chilling effect on voters. Some even suggested the department was somehow trying to influence voters to support the Republican gubernatorial ticket. Chief Cruz said he was disheartened by those suggestions. He said the survey was nonpartisan and non-political. Chief Cruz also denied suggestions that the survey would be used to advance his Ph.D. thesis at Fiji's South Pacific University, which is also sponsoring the survey. The chief said his thesis would be completed by the end of this year, and the survey now won't be conducted until January or later. A Korean soccer player has been acquitted of all charges in connection with an alleged sexual assault of a Korean woman at the Leo Palace Resort in January. 28-year-old Byung-ho Kim found not guilty of 3 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct and 4 counts of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct. In his closing remarks to the jury last week, Assistant Attorney General Jeremiah Luther described the victim as a woman who was awakened in the middle of the night, half asleep, and frozen by fear when Kim forcibly took advantage of her, he said. However, defense attorney Randy Cunliffe painted a different picture in his closing remarks, suggesting the woman was a gold digger who consented to having sex and later threatened to sue after being jilted following the encounter. The jury got the case on Thursday morning, deliberated all day Thursday and Friday. They went home for the weekend and reached their verdict yesterday afternoon. Following that verdict, Cunliffe told the Guam Daily Post that the jury apparently did not believe the woman's allegation that force was used. He said his client is now very happy that he's been acquitted and can now return to Korea and try and get his life back together. Kim was a member of the Sangmu Phoenix, a South Korean soccer team that was on Guam in January for a series of practice games when the incident occurred. We'll have more news after this.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sports Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sports Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Morrico Equipment is the exclusive Freightliner truck dealer in Guam and Micronesia. That exclusive part is important because Morrico Equipment can sell new Freightliner trucks with the 2004 Mercedes diesel engine. If you operate trucks on Guam, then you know how important and reliable the old diesel engines are. The Mercedes diesel engine only in Freightliner trucks operates on both old and new diesel fuel. They do not require DEF fluid or engine regeneration. Freightliner trucks, only at Morrico Equipment.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Opening arguments heard yesterday in district court in the retrial of Raymond Martinez and Juanita Mosier. Martinez and Mosier are facing methamphetamine distribution and money laundering charges. They're alleged to have conspired to bring 8 pounds of meth from California into Guam. Their first trial ended in a mistrial in May. In his opening remarks yesterday, Assistant U.S. Attorney Fred Black said the prosecution has videotapes of the defendants talking about their plans to bring the meth to Guam in cars, in the mail, and even in a water softener system. The key prosecution witness is former Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency Lieutenant Henry Alvendia, who the prosecution says was recruited by the defendants to help bring the meth into Guam. However, defense attorney Pete Perez called the government case against Martinez and Mosier rotten in his opening remarks. He said there is a law enforcement corruption in this case and suggested that his clients were set up. An airman on pretrial release following accusations he raped a 9-year-old girl in July has now been jailed after he traveled to the mainland U.S. without court permission. 33-year-old Luis Anthony Vargas appeared in Superior Court yesterday for a pretrial hearing in front of Judge Anita Sokola. Vargas was on pretrial release, confined to his home in Manilao and under orders not to leave Guam. However, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations found out that he had left Guam, traveled to New Mexico via Hawaii, then came back to the island when he was arrested and taken into custody. Judge Sokola revoked his release while he awaits trial. Vargas's next court appearance scheduled for Friday. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Now let's see what we got here. Mostly cloudy skies, warm, isolated showers this morning, then scattered showers in the afternoon, isolated thunderstorms as well. Southeast winds to about 15 miles an hour, decreasing overnight. Highs about 88 degrees. Cooler tonight, 78 degrees. Sunset will be at 6:01 for those of you keeping track of when that golden hour is going to be in sunrise this morning and tomorrow morning about 6:11 a.m. Did I get it all?
You did, for the most part. Looks like the scattered showers have already started. Got quite a bit of rain, especially right here in Upper Tumon. I have no radar. I can't tell who else is getting the rain, but yeah, it's raining pretty good up here, so going to be a wet drive to work, and that'll continue right on through the day today. But you still should be able to see a sunset.
Yeah, it must be why I'm looking at traffic in the middle of Jigo on southbound Marine Corps Drive after the intersection of 1 and 3. Let me see here. Route 27, that's the one that takes you by the school at the Dededo Sports Complex. That one is slowing down as well. We'll see some more traffic inbound on Marine Corps Drive going slow right now, right up until you get to about where St. John's is. And traffic over at the airport looks like all of the lights are conspiring to keep you in one spot right now. Also look for traffic on Route 8 headed into Agana, just in front of Mighty, to begin to slow down as well. That's a view from Central. Don't see anything else working, but that's where we're seeing the most congestion right now. It's 8:14, news, weather, and a little bit of traffic together here on The Point.
At At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Blake says it's pouring rain. You know what to do when it's pouring rain? Go inside. Go inside to King's because they have Bistec tomorrow's Tuesday, and that's the big lunchtime special that they've got waiting for you. Not into that. Maybe you had some the other day. Maybe you made some the other day for yourself, and you're going, yeah, maybe I want to eat something else if I go to King's. They got a huge menu there, and the pick 2 and pick 3 combo works as well.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
The only reason I am here is because of the kindness and the virtue of a number of advertisers, including Security Title. When you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions, American President Lines, they're shipping the future. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. MRE, that's Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar. American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. And my friends over at Atkins Kroll Lexus, where they have a brand new ES 350. And what's it stand for? Special. It's a special car, and we want you to go and take a test drive in this special car that they've got for you, and then start talking to them about making sure it gets into your driveway. ES 350, the brand new one, 2019, is waiting for you at AK.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
To the Department of Public Health Social Services website, you can find the application for the Patient Home Cultivation Permit. Very important document if you are going to be one of those people that wants to actually grow your own medicinal marijuana in the comfort and safety of your own house. And this is one of the documents apparently that you will need to fill out. The first thing that you got to do is go and get a victim ID or something like that. Is that the paperwork there?
A registry ID card.
Yeah. And then what else? There's like
debilitating medical condition verification, certification, qualified patient registration. Blah, 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 blah.
Right. So there's more than one or two things to work through.
But you're right. That's the key one.
Yeah. This is the one that will actually allow you once you've got all the permitting taking place and in process. This is the one that will actually allow you to go to the Department of Corrections and find somebody over there that's got seeds. Wouldn't that be interesting if all of a sudden the contraband was going out of the prison instead of into the prison? This is a revolutionary time, I tell you. It's 8:18 in the morning, and this is the Ray Gibson Show. Before we get to sports, and Nadia, if you go to virtually every news site in the world right now, you are going to get this story. Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, is dead, age 65. And I've said on more than one occasion, all stories are local stories, one way or the other. And Paul Allen has a fascination for the Pacific. He's got this super yacht, the Octopus, that is called on Guam numerous occasions. When what's his name, Cameron, when he went down, it was Paul Allen's boat that he came in on, right?
Well, I know the boat was out here and monitored that dive when it happened.
When Cameron went down to the Challenger Deep.
Yep.
And it was not that long ago,
5 years ago
that Paul Allen's team found the wreckage of the USS Indianapolis,
right.
which is a component to the Enola Gay story, because it was the Indianapolis that delivered it, and it made its way out of Guam, sailing out of Guam under confidentiality and radio silence, attacked and sank by the Japanese. And anybody that watched Jaws knows what the rest of the story is for the Indianapolis.
It should be noted that Paul Allen's team also found the Japanese battleship, the sister ship of the Yamato, the Musashi, that was in the Sibuyan Sea in the Philippines, was sunk during the Battle of Leyte.
Right. Just a fascination, as I say, with this part of the world here. Let me, before we get into sports, let me play this. It's a story from KUM going back a couple of years. Headline, research ship owned by Paul Allen on a mission to find the wreckage.
Yeah, we spent most of the day out here. I'm still trying to get my sea legs out here on the research vessel, Petro, but we're joined by Rob Kraft, one of the men behind the project and the mission happening just off the coast here in Guam. So, Rob, tell us about what you guys are doing after some testing.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, we're out here in Guam. We're doing some testing on the ROV, the autonomous vehicle we have, also the crane and some of the ship systems.
Right. And so why would you say that this area is so unique and it works so well in testing sites?
Yeah, Guam is a great location for us to base the operation out of because we have very deep water, very close to the island. And as you know, we operate extremely deep, 6,000 meters of water. So we like deep things, and it's a great place here.
No doubt this crew definitely has experience when it comes to unearthing some of the history and everything beneath the sea. Anything else that you'd like to add, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're interesting pictures, but I'm having a hard time making out what they're saying. But basically, the control room on board this ship looks very much like the control room that you were working in. It's festooned with monitors and consoles and a lot of flashing lights. Plenty of flashing lights.
Yeah,
anyway.
everybody knows I'm pretty much underwater in here most of the
But
time.
as I say, a fascinating story and a fascinating individual. Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, and somebody who's got a fascination for our neighborhood here in the world, has passed away. Right now it's time for Sports with Blake. Yeah, and Sonny Cruz noted the same thing that I was looking at. The Bota ad is blocking the screen. How do we got to take that thing out there? So, otherwise, I got to charge Ray Tenorio, or do I? All right, they got all of the right pictures and the right images back on the screen here, including that one of Blake Watson. Blake, how did I do in the pick'ems?
And you did okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, because the one that I remember specifically that you picked was the Jets, because they're playing here.
Yeah.
And I believe that they won, so that was the one that really stuck out for me.
I called it right on the Jaguars as well, didn't I?
Yeah, no, they lost.
Oh.
You kept with mammals,
What about
right?
the Falcons? It was birds. It was birds and birds of prey.
Birds and mammals.
Yeah, furry and four-legged.
You didn't do so well. The Falcons did win. You picked the Bengals. They lost. I picked them as well with you. The Chargers, I think you picked L.A. as well. They won. You got that one right. The Seahawks, they won. I think you picked, did you pick Dolphins or Bears? Which one did you pick?
Bears.
Okay, they won. No, they lost. But that one was almost went into overtime.
Yeah, no.
That one was almost
actually did go into overtime.
Yeah, almost our tie. The Birds of Prey in Arizona lost. The Jets won. The Panthers lost. Houston Texans beat the Buffalo Bills. Yep. The Rams, they beat the Broncos. I guess a ram is stronger than a horse. Surprisingly enough, Dallas hung 40 points on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and everybody in Dallas themselves are scratching their head. They have no idea how. Tennessee, they get blanked 21-0. So I don't remember. I think you picked Baltimore in that game because they're a bird.
They're Ravens.
Yep. You probably picked the Patriots, which was the smart pick. I went with Kansas City. Kansas City almost. This was yesterday's.
43-40.
They were down. It was like 26 to like 12 at one point. The Pat Mahomes show had to come back with like I think 3 possessions and score, and they did, and they were right there at the end. Interesting too about this, as we always like to work beer into the sports report.
We should.
Yes, up in the Boston, Massachusetts area.
Yes,
those fans, one in particular in some hot water, he has been prosecuted and banned for life from Foxborough Stadium because as Tyreek Hill scored the tying touchdown, he ran, like he kind of stopped himself, with his momentum into the back wall where the crowd is. And a fan threw beer right in his face.
Wow.
Threw a Bud Light right in his face. But they reviewed security tapes, the stadium did, and the Patriots themselves took action against their own fan. Banned him for life, prosecuted him, turned him in the cops, everything. So
banned for life.
Yeah,
that's
I want a T-shirt that says, I want to get banned for life for something.
I am banned for life, I think, from a couple things. Yeah. couple shopping establishments over in the States.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Leave that there. Hey,
I don't go to too many banana republics, let's just say.
The high school football, when does it all come down? It's going to be Duenas against who?
Duenas will be taking on...
There's only one left, yeah?
No, there's 4. I did it. Yeah, I said it yesterday. No, GW is taking on, I believe, JFK, and I think Father Duane's is going to take on Guam High. I think that's how it's going to shake out. Either way, the schedule that I have for that, all it says is Saturday night semifinals, IIG football. So I don't have a time or date for either one. And the thing is, because the 2 higher seeds, we may run into an issue because the 2 higher seeds are FD and GW, which means they should host the home games, but they share a home field, and they're not playing each other. Yeah, so I don't. So they may have to figure that out before Saturday night. Yeah,
a little bit tricky. Well, see what the Titans have been playing on, and the guys over at Sanchez. I see what you're saying. Somebody asked me last night if I wanted the IIAG soccer schedule so I could give it to you, and I said no. Oh, because I didn't want to be responsible. Okay, so I said I'm not working right now. Here's Blake's address. Did you get it? Do you have it?
Let me see here. I didn't have it this morning. I didn't have it early, unless it got pushed to spam.
Okay.
But I can
I'm
look.
in a better mood now. So, yeah, Lynn, go ahead and send it to me, and then I'll bounce it to Blake.
Yeah.
Or you can send it to Blake. Blake's got an email address.
Yeah, it's blake.watson@choicephonellc.com.
Okay, so send it to me, and I'll give it to Blake, because it's far too hard to remember. He lost me at Blake.
Let's see here. Yeah, I'm just looking. I don't have it yet.
If you've got important sports information that you'd like to pass along to Blake as well, you can WhatsApp it to the radio station 988-5874. Again, 988-5874. Or you can send it to the WhatsApp for Star 101.
682-7101. That's 682 get it? Spell Star 101. 682-7101. There you go.
We're fancy like that.
Also going on last night was keeping with soccer. 2018-2019 Budweiser Soccer League Premier Division officially kicked off over the weekend and this week as there were tons and tons of matches from out there. 14 athletes from 5 teams scored 21 goals in 4 matches, ready to start the season.
So Budweiser's doing something. Does it start this week or is it next week where they're going to be giving away? And, we used to think it was a big deal if you get tickets to go to the Super Bowl, which obviously you still do. But my understanding is they're giving away tickets to go watch any game, any stadium where they sell Bud Light in the country.
I actually talked to some friends yesterday that know a lot about that, and I was like, they were like, so any stadium, pertains to me personally, so they're like, any stadium where they serve Budweiser products, you're good. I'm like,
what's the matter?
My team's sponsored by Miller Lite. So my home stadium doesn't serve Bud
But
products.
You would go and
I would have to go watch the Cowboys.
You still watch the Cowboys,
right? But I'd have to go I'd have to go to Seattle or Denver or somewhere to watch them. Yeah, so.
Oh, life's hard.
I know.
You still get the airplane ride. You still get the.
I actually would rather go to. I'd rather go watch them play the Giants up in New York. That'd be a good game.
Yeah, and so that is one of the things. So I think it's pretty cool where you can pick out which what game you want to watch.
I'm willing to bet Guam residents are not eligible.
No, they are.
No, they are.
They're doing
that's
radio
the
station
point. Yeah, that's the
promoting
point.
it.
Yeah, that's
yes,
the point.
Guam residents can.
Yeah, this isn't a Budweiser
First
thing.
I've heard about
this is a local thing. This isn't a Budweiser.
That's why I put it in the news here in the sports because it's kind of a newsy thing. It's our partners over.
It's not like where there's like a $1 menu at McDonald's in Idaho, but
it's
here
$1.25
here. No. This pertains to anybody. We can all go.
Yes, it is.
But I think it's a much cooler too. Shout out to Budweiser and whoever decided that, wherever InBev is located over there in St. Louis or somewhere. But yeah, that's much better than having to be because there was a Super Bowl in Dallas that I could have gone to, but I'm like, I hate the Steelers and I really hate the Packers, so I don't really care to go. It's not like why
you passed up the chance to go to a Super Bowl
in my own hometown.
Never mind who's playing
in my own hometown.
Never mind who's playing. It's the excitement of being at a Super Bowl.
No, I'm a true fan. I don't mess with teams I hate. Yeah, it was the two
most
teams.
Super Bowl games are boring anyway. So.
Isn't it amazing? The people that we work with, you learn something new. You think you know a guy, right?
Well, here's the deal. I didn't want to see the Steelers pass us for the Super Bowl total in my stadium, and I didn't want to see the quarterback with the most punchable face in the NFL. Talking about Aaron Rodgers, I didn't want to see him win. I didn't want to see either of those teams win in my. I didn't want to watch a football game in Dallas Cowboys Stadium that didn't have the Dallas Cowboys in it, unless it's high school, whatever. But I'm not an NFL game.
That's true believer stuff, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm tried and true.
I'm just not there.
I bleed silver and blue.
Yeah, I've gone to visit my dad in North Carolina and watched the Carolina Panthers play another team, and I can't remember who the heck it was. Didn't really care for either one of them, but it was just being in a stadium watching a live football game.
That new wore off for me because from like 1988 to about 2005. I got to go to any home game I wanted to for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's season tickets, so it's the new wore off from just being there. I got to see plenty.
To me, there's still so many new adventures. I go watch basketball teams. Anybody knows me knows I don't know anything about basketball or basketball teams, but I got to sit upstairs in one of the in somebody's box.
Yeah, that's the best.
And
I never
watch
if I had a box, if I ever had a suite at the Super Bowl, maybe a little bit different. But I'm not going to go sit down there with the commoners.
It's strange, like you've got two heads. It's amazing. It's 8:30 in the morning, and we got anything else big going on that we got to tell people about?
Nothing. We
just have a big sports weekend.
Actually, you know what? I do want to announce this. We do we do as far as IIAG goes in football, but I do want to say this or announce this because the 2018 football All Island for IIAG list is out. Just going to round out the offensive and defensive MVPs because the other lists are way too long. Kine Artero, the hotshot running back, the junior from FD who joined the 1,000-yard club. He is the offensive MVP all by himself and defensive MVP, which actually surprises me that they didn't just give it to one person. Is three-way tie between Chase Spotansky, the senior from JFK, Ryan Napoleon, the FD senior, and John Espino, the GW Gecko senior. So,
congratulations,
so shout out to all three of those players for taking home defensive MVP.
And their moms and dads.
And their moms and dads.
Because, it's at a certain level, it's like a cult.
Yep. Right? I had a mom hit me up last night asking for her son's stats season long. I was like,
You haven't got it memorized, Mom?
I haven't the time or the effort, nor was I at any of the games.
All right. So Sonny Cruz is shouting out words on Facebook Live, just Cowboys and Jags smoked and Pats won.
Yep. Yeah, good. Pats won, Jags smoked.
And Nick Perlowski and Steelers fans hate the Cowboys. And Eddie Cruz says, I'm with you, Blake. Go Cowboys. You've got at least one other.
See, there you go.
Cowboys fan. I'm looking
if I get the flyaway, Eddie Cruz, I'm taking you.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that would be crazy fun.
We'll send you pictures and WhatsApp videos.
No pictures.
I got a big,
no pictures,
fan.
no cameras.
We're going to New York, Eddie. We're going to New York in December to watch the Giants and the Cowboys out at the Meadowlands.
Have an upcoming 2K, 5K. Send your information to goodnews@postguam.com to have your running event featured here. There is nothing on the bottom page announcing any 5Ks this week. I believe that this week is going to be the Ghoulish 10K. The Guam Running Club is running that again.
In the costumes?
You can run in costume if you're stupid.
Yep. I mean, I think I'm with you on that line of thinking. I'm just wondering. It's an option, right?
So here's my thing is I don't want to get beat by anybody in costume pushing a stroller or anything like that. So I just
or any dogs.
Dogs. I get dogs. Yeah. So I don't know. So the Ghoulish 5K or 10K it starts in the back way to the Old Navy Golf Course, and we make our way to Route 8. Then you run up past Barragata Heights, past the stores. Up until you get to about Catholic Social Service, but just before you get there, turn around right by the Coca-Cola bottling company.
Right.
That's about the turnaround, and then you head back. So you're up against the wind and a little bit of uphill on the way out, a little bit of a gravity return, a little bit of wind behind you on your way back to the thing. And so Guam Running Club is doing it again. Bring candy.
And shout out to them as they gear up for their big event in February as well. Always a reminder.
8:33 in the morning, and that's all the time we've got for sports. Blake's going to go finish the morning show over on Star 101.
Yes, I'm going to go watch it rain and talk some Kanye news. He's making America again.
Yes,
he took
the president.
I think he took off the again. Did you see that? He made a hat for
just
Trump.
Making America great.
Yeah, so it's not again. He's just making America great. He took off the A from MAGA.
And he's ticking off all of the libbies in Hollywood and all the guys in the music industry.
And he lost it a little bit because he quit Twitter for a week, and it's got nothing to do with nothing. But I just like to say this flex my Kanye knowledge. He just boarded a plane to Uganda, took the whole family, rented a whole 5-star resort, and he told the Ugandan president he's going to turn it into, quote, Jurassic Park, end quote. That's what Kanye's up to.
Too much money, too much time. It's 8:34. Headlines with Kevin Kerrigan's coming up next.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Yeah, starting to go around here. Got a friend, Perla, sent me a link to a CNBC story. 142 Sears and Kmart stores are set to close. Though when you look at the map, hon, you don't see Guam on that. In fact, if it was me, if I was Mr. Mart at Kmart, shop smart, shop Kmart, I'd open another location on Guam. Wouldn't that be something? So you get the one up here, right? Where would we put another Kmart location? Ganya? Ganya. Here's the statistic that most people, I didn't know until somebody told it to me. Here's the statistic. The majority of the population on Guam lives north of here, Micronesia Mall North. The majority of the money and moneyed individuals is a Ganya shopping center, south. So think about that when you're starting to ponder about maybe expanding or opening businesses someplace. As they say, find the fish, not the fishermen. It's 8:35 in the morning. Headlines now from the Guam Daily Post with Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Department of Public Health and Social Services has announced that medical cannabis home cultivation permit applications are now ready for distribution. A release from Public Health says that as of today, the application forms can be downloaded from the department's website or picked up at the Public Health Central Office in Manilao. There's one application for patient cultivators, a different one for caregivers applying to grow cannabis. To qualify for a medical marijuana home cultivation permit, applicants must also register with Public Health and obtain a registry ID card. And patients have to submit proof of diagnosis from their practitioner as well that they are suffering from one of the illnesses qualified for treatment with medicinal marijuana. Public Health Director Leo Casil said that once the application has been completed and submitted, it should take only a few days to process it and issue the permit. Students and staff at Simon Sanchez High School mourning the deaths of two fellow students who died in a car crash in Jonio over the weekend. The boys were identified by fellow students as Josiah Blas and Timothy Uwe. Both boys were 17 years old. DOE spokeswoman Isa Baza said additional counseling has been provided to the students. The school's flag flew at half-staff yesterday, and a moment of silence was held for the students. Uwe and Blas were passengers in a black Toyota Corolla being driven by a 19-year-old. The vehicle ran off Route 4 in Jonia and crashed into the bush late on Saturday night. The 19-year-old driver was treated for his injuries and later released. A drug detector dog that helped sniff out an estimated $13 million of illicit drugs is retiring this week. Tony, the drug detector dog, has been working with Guam Customs for the last 2 years. The department credits Tony with the seizure of more than 20,000 grams of illegal narcotics. Customs spokeswoman Jessie Santos says Tony will retire after he suffered a tracheal collapse that cannot be surgically corrected. The vet also found that Tony was suffering from decreased mobility and recommended that he be retired. A special ceremony for Tony the Customs dog is planned for this Friday at Customs headquarters in Tizen. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
What's going to happen to that dog? What are they gonna do after the ceremony of the retirement? What are they going to put him someplace with like a poodle or something?
Well, there must be a loving family out there somewhere.
I would hope.
Take him in.
Yeah. See him, name something after this dog. Sounds like a legendary career in law enforcement and drug interdiction, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Big kennel or something out there. Where are we in the program? 8:38 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Swing by iConnect or call 888-8888 and ask them about the incredible deals they have on mobile and push to talk and even internet plans. They are the practical choice at iConnect.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Yeah, Kevin's going to go and do that real-life job that he's got over at the Guam Daily Post. I get to stay here and have the fun and tell you about Cold Stone Creamery, inviting you to try the banana bread battered ice cream and sea salt caramel ice cream made with premium Ghirardelli sea salt caramel sauce in a new creation. Or Cold Stone Creamery, celebrating 30 years of the ultimate ice cream experience.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
No doubt you've heard these words. Life just ain't fair. We all have had things or people go south on us, leaving us feel that we were victimized. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, I've got a story you might not soon forget.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Was crazy traffic just a few minutes ago. I got all kinds of red lights on the traffic gizmo, but it looks like things are calming down just a little bit. Still a lot of traffic, but it seems to be moving all right. 8, 10, and 16, you see a little bit of congestion around there. Just lots of cars, nothing to worry about. Marine Corps Drive from about with the Chicken Joy intersection, past Jack in the Box, and about towards St. John's is still a little bit thick, but you'll make it through there all right. Traffic inbound and around Snake Road and Navy Hospital beginning to thick up just a little bit, but that's actually traffic that is headed past Navy Hospital towards Johnny Gerber's place down there. What am I looking at? Traffic coming off of out of Agate, trying to get onto Marine Corps Drive, way down south, is a little bit thick as well. I'm not sure what's going on there. And that's it. That's all I got for you. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Hyundai Construction Equipment is sold exclusively on Guam by Morico Equipment, a market leader with proven reliability in large excavators, loaders, and forklifts. Morico Equipment, with 28 years on Guam, offers Hyundai Construction Equipment sales, rental, parts, service, and fully maintained lease finance. Hyundai Equipment is in stock on Guam. Equipment demonstrations are available on request. Contact Morico Equipment on Ipoh Road at 649-1946 or go to moricoequipment.com.
I see that, Daryl. Taco first, then politics. Still skins. It's in Redskins? What are we talking about? Sonny says, we're talking about the dog that they're going to retire. Sonny says the handler might adopt him. Hopefully, he can help sniff out the Mary Jane from his kids' rooms. No. 888-8255 is the phone number here. What have I got on the WhatsApp? Anything cranking on the WhatsApp? Anybody send me some funny memes? I did get. I want to say I did get a funny meme. I'm just not sure if I can if I can or should. Stupid. I'm not sure if I can load it up on the Facebook Live for everybody to see it. Tell you what, find Ismael Velez on Facebook and ask him to send it to you. Just say show me the picture of your recent meme. Send it to me here in the messenger, and you'll enjoy. And you get to make a new friend. And you'll get to make a new friend. Now he got busted. Well, that's all right. That's okay. I wanted to find 8:43 in the morning, and one of the people I consider to be just among the more fascinating creatures that lives on Guam is Lee Weber, and I was wondering if maybe Lee Weber knew a thing about Paul Allen and his incredible fascination with historical wrecks here in the Pacific area, and maybe did you rub elbows with him on one of these dives? He seems to be one of those kind of guys that you would have had some kind of connection with. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning. How are you?
You know what, I'm doing terrific. It was nice to see you and the dogs over the weekend. It was nice.
Yeah, that was enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. So now, was there already, before I get to the Paul Allen questions, was there already an underwater pumpkin carving contest?
No, it's the 27th this month on Saturday.
Nice.
People can register at MDA if they like, and it's a lot of fun. Probably the most fun is watching pumpkins bounce to the surface when they get loose.
Well, I tell you what, and having seen some of the pumpkins that get carved and the incredible detail that people can put into them in these contests, it's amazing. I mean, I can barely handle just making triangle eyes and cutting out the mouth. Some of the way that people will carve these pumpkins, and remember, they're doing it underwater, is just incredible. So if you get a chance, participate. Or where are you going to take the pumpkins when they're done for the judging?
They get judged right there at the beach.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, try to be there when it comes down to the judging. Anyway, so Microsoft founder Paul Allen, apparently dead at 65 years old. And as I'm fond of saying, all stories are local stories. I thought maybe you might have a connection or know a thing or two about Paul and his fascination with the Pacific.
No, I never met Paul Allen. James, I met and dove actually with James Cameron in Chuuk, and he had me on board the yacht when they were making the dive out there. But I never met Alan. I know he was fascinated with the work that Cameron did in this part of the world, as are a lot of us. And it's sad to lose somebody as young as he is, and as abruptly. He's a brilliant man. So.
And like I said, it wasn't that long ago. In fact, you were quoted in a story that they did at the Stripes about the discovery of the wreck of the Indianapolis, and then they had asked you questions about some of the more incredible wrecks that we've got here on Guam, in particular, 2 of them in Apra Harbor.
Yeah, well, you actually have multiples in Apra Harbor. You have the Tokai, the Cormoran, the Kitsugawa. From World War II wrecks, but you got a number of planes down as well. And then there's a plethora of other wrecks. There's 30 some odd wrecks around the island.
Can I just say I've penetrated the Tokai Moru, but didn't go very, very deep inside of it. There's something quite claustrophobic about it, and of course you're swimming in a facility in the ship, and it lies at a little bit of a tilt, and that's kind of off-putting. So I never really was much of a wreck diver when I was diving, but you've been in and around and through a bunch of wrecks in the Pacific, haven't you?
Yeah, I dove Chuuk quite a bit over the years. I'm not really that much of a wreck diver either. Although we've done quite a few dives down in Chuuk. We've penetrated multiple levels down into Heian, into the engine rooms, and the areas where the power was controlled, and the repair rooms and things like that. It's just, they're fascinating. And to me, what's fascinating about them is really the history and the fact that you're going places that not a lot of people have ever been. And that's just, to me, amazing. And I haven't been to Chuuk in about a year or so, but we have groups going down there all the time.
There's a kind of solemnity when you're in these wrecks. I mean, there's obviously the thrill of something that is akin to flying in a gym, if you will, if you get into a rather large holding area on the ship. But there's also a solemnity involved in that you're diving on something where people lost their lives.
Yeah, and there's a lot of not a lot, but quite a few of the wrecks in Chuuk still have remnants of the soldiers or sailors or whoever they were who were on board when they went down. There's still a lot of bones left on a number of the wrecks that you'll run into as you dive. It's kind of, and for some people it's very, very eerie. For other people it's very calming. For other people it's just plain frightening. So
yeah.
It runs the gamut.
As you can imagine. Beginning the conversation, I'm talking with Lee Weber and from MDA, and the reason why I'm talking to him is because Paul Allen has passed away, and as I said, Paul has done a significant amount of research and artifact hunting here in the Pacific Ocean, and somewhere around here is going to be somebody that says, Paul Allen, yeah, I had a drink with him over at the beach bar a couple of weeks ago. Tell you all about him, and we'll see if we can lock up with that guy. Lee, it's always fascinating talking with you, and I got to tell you, I loved the live version of your editorial that you gave me on Sunday, and I enjoyed reading it yesterday about how, the history-making election that we are in right now really isn't all that historic. It's been done before. It's kind of a rerun.
Yeah, it's most of the voters today, unless they were around and of an age that they would remember the election in 1970 with Ricky Bordalio, probably have no recollection of it, which is why I tried to throw it out there, because the similarities between what's going on within the Democratic Party and the fact that you have a Republican candidate standing alone, and the reality that in that election, Ricky, while he and Dick Titano did win the primary election, and there were three other sets of Democratic candidates, when it came down to the general election, he actually ended up losing to
Carlos Camacho
and Mr. Camacho.
Do you think that history will repeat itself? I mean, that's the big question I think that people are asking themselves now among the political gossipers. We've pondering what the scenario is going to be. Carlos Camacho, though, running unopposed, wildly popular, and near as anybody can tell, never grabbed anybody by the gun. So I think there's a difference there. Is it possible that we could watch that lightning strike again the exact same way as it did in 1970, or are there other issues at play in this election that warrant a second look?
Well, there's Ray, as you know, there's no two elections that are alike. I'm just trying to point out similarities in history. The reality is, like I said in the column, it's not over till the fat lady sings, and that's November 6th, or the second Tuesday in November. So I think we'll have to wait and see. But there are differences, most assuredly, between the elections, but there are also a lot of interesting similarities between the two. So it remains to be seen whether the Democratic Party pulls off a win or whether the Republicans pull off a win.
Well, and it is possible that we might have to wait 2 weeks after the 6th in order to see what it's going to be in case there is the much predicted runoff.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too, and it'll be a hand count, so.
It'll be a long night at the Election Commission. Lee, it's a pleasure talking with you. Can I just bug you about one other topic real quick?
Go ahead.
There's a lot of worry warts around here that are concerned that bankruptcy protection that has been filed by the Sears, which is a parent corporation of Kmart, could spell the end of days for the Kmart location we've got here across the street. What do you think?
I don't think you're going to see that in the foreseeable future. Whether it will happen eventually, I don't know. But the Kmart out here has been for many years, to my knowledge, the most profitable Kmart of all Kmarts, and they do a real booming business. And I think even if Kmart itself were to leave, someone would fill that void as they always do. So, but I just don't see them closing this Kmart. The question will be more so how will this Kmart be supplied and by whom?
Right. That will be an interesting question, as they're beginning to shut down a significant number of Sears and Kmarts across the country. 142 have been put on the list for immediate closure and liquidation, and thankfully Guam is not yet on that list. And hopefully, after they trim the company up and right size it and take a look at some of the other operations, it might actually make for a better Kmart here on Guam and in the locations where they've decided to keep them open.
Yes, it might.
We'll see what happens.
Correct, it could.
Lee, always fun plugging into the Brain Trust. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Thanks, Ray. Take care. Have a good day.
I certainly will. It's 8:53. This is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. I like talking to him. If for no other reason, it's a nice trip down memory lane because he remembers things from once upon a time. And the other one is Bob Klitsky. Bob and I were sitting with the kids from Star 101 on Thursday night last week. They had a little get-together over at Horse and Cow for the anniversary. They gave away electric guitar and some money and stuff like that because it's what radio stations do as promotions, is get people together and do giveaways. And Bob came over after the afternoon show, after Tall Tales, and we got to talking about just places from a long time ago that don't exist anymore. And the reason why is I don't know why it was stuck in my idea. His name is Tall Tales, and there used to be a club, I want to say in the same area as Horse and Cow, that was called the Talk of the Town. And I remember asking my dad about where that was, but too many birthdays in between the last time he was in the Talk of the Town and when I asked him, and he couldn't remember exactly where it was. Of course, Bob Klitsky knows where that is, knows the people that ran it, knew the people that were running Earl's Hut back in the old days, and actually remembers when there was a place called Sleepy Lagoon on Sleepy Lagoon. So very, very interesting times. 8:55 in the morning, 888-8255 is my telephone number. As I move into what I think are going to be interesting times for us, it is the beginning of something that for some residents might feel like it is a tectonic change. There was a time a long time ago where they did a thing called arrest when you showed up with a marijuana cigarette. And the views on marijuana in the 5 decades that I've been alive have changed. When I was a boy, it was just long hair, hippie, radical dudes that were smoking marijuana and looking kind of rough out in the boondocks. And now we're in a day and age where we're talking about being able to use it for specific medicinal purposes. And we took it to the voters a few years ago, and they said, yeah, we like that idea. Not so much on the recreational side, but we like the idea of medicinal marijuana. And then nothing happened for a long time. And then they were talking about it at the legislature just a few weeks ago, and here it comes. We've actually got a few steps into the process. Patient home cultivation permits are now available on the website of the Department of Public Health and Social Services. And it's not a hard form to fill out. And the reason why I sound amazed is because I'm amazed that they were able to move as quickly as they did and get a new form that will marry up with the old forms that are already available on the site. And before too much longer, somebody that might already have the identification or has already taken the steps to get the identification and other paperwork from their doctors will be able to fill out this piece of paperwork and maybe start growing marijuana plants in their house.
That's what happens when you have a director who doesn't put his personal feelings in the way of policy.
If that's what happened in the last case, I knew that the last director liked the program that he had put in place, that he had set up. He had worked with people, I guess, in Arizona once upon a time, but it was just when we took a look at it and tried to figure out who it is that is going to be able to do dispensary, who's going to be able to do the cultivation, who's going to be able to do the labs, and the incredible cost associated with just the concept. And then there's no guarantee that there's going to be any kind of payoff. These are not public entities. These are people that would want to do something like this, oh, I don't know, for profit, maybe. And so there. But I'm surprised that it's happening so fast. That's the thing. Thought you don't like the concept words right sizing. Yeah, I don't. Thanks for noticing that. I don't generally like to use phrases like that or phrases like hump day. I think there's usually another different way to say it. Maybe spinning off would have been the right way to say it after we've determined that we don't need this many Kmarts and right size the organization.
Right.
Yeah. No, listener caught me.
Yeah.
Saying it. Sorry. Just every once in a while. It's not like I don't hate it. Did I say I hated it when people do that?
Well, I don't.
There are other concept words and other like cliches that I avoid like the plague.
Nice.
Stupid. All right, and we have not yet spent too much time delving into the political ads that are floating around. One I pointed out yesterday, which is how can Lou claim to protect Guam's most vulnerable if she won't protect the unborn? I thought this was among the most dramatic. The late President Ronald Reagan said, "I've noticed that everyone who is for abortion has already been born. What should never be a choice is the life of a child." Ray Tenorio and Tony Atta are pro-life and believe that there are too many alternatives to ever abort a child. Lou's pro-choice stance is contrary to her complaints of wanting to serve the needs of Guam's disenfranchised, the most vulnerable. Well, who is more vulnerable than a baby waiting to be born? Yep, it's 3 weeks away from the election, and if things are going to be direct and snotty, I guess it can start now. And the response from Lou and Josh? Something about career politicians. I'll delve into this in the next hour of the program. Won't you delve with me? Please, feel free to delve on the Ray Gibson Show. It's at 9 o'clock in the morning or darn close to it. The radio station is, which one are we? KUSG, right? Okay, KUSG FM, Agana. This is The Point. We'll be right back.
Getting a first-hand look. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump and the First Lady touring areas of Florida and Georgia torn apart by Hurricane Michael.
This was brutal. They haven't seen anything like it. And possibly there hasn't been anything like it. The wind's almost 200 miles an hour. Just wiped houses away. The foundations, everything gone.
The president speaking at Robins Air Force Base in Georgia. Michael made landfall last week as a category in the Florida Panhandle as a Category 4 hurricane, destroying everything in its path. Also in Georgia, the president promising to get to the bottom of what happened to journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, the president sending Secretary of State Pompeo to Saudi Arabia for a meeting with King Salman.
I'm really sending him just to find out really firsthand what happened. What they know, what's going on. He may go to Turkey, he may not. He may meet with all of them together, but we want to find out what happened.
Khashoggi disappeared after visiting the Saudi consulate in Istanbul 2 weeks ago. Turkish authorities believe he's dead. The Saudis reluctantly agreed to let investigators search the consulate, but a cleaning crew showed up hours before the team arrived. Lisa?
Steve, a co-founder of Microsoft, has died.
Paul Allen died in Seattle while battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He just announced that he was starting treatment again for it this month after successfully battling the same disease 9 years ago. His sister said in a statement that while others know Allen as a technologist and philanthropist, he was warm and generous and always made time for family and close friends. While he left Microsoft in the early 80s, he was on the board of directors until the year 2000 and hung on to his shares. Forbes had him as the 44th richest man this year.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Paul Allen was 65. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 89, the Nasdaq off 66, the S&P sank 16. This is Fox News.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
A Fox News alert. A federal judge dismissing Stormy Daniels' defamation lawsuit against President Trump. The ruling also states that the president is entitled to an award of his attorney's fees against Stormy Daniels. A copy of the ruling is coming, and no amount of spin or commentary by Stormy Daniels or her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, can truthfully characterize today's ruling in any other way than total victory for President Trump and defeat for Stormy Daniels. The amount of the award for President Trump's attorney's fees will be determined at a later date. Once again, a federal judge dismissing Stormy Daniels' defamation suit against President Trump. The federal budget deficit hits a 6-year high.
The federal budget deficit hit $779 billion in fiscal year 2018. That's 17% higher than the previous year and the highest deficit total since 2012. The Treasury Department figure shows tax revenues were up slightly for the year. Spending increased more than 3%, with increase in defense spending, disaster relief, Medicaid, and Social Security. Congress passed a tax cut bill in December, signed into law by the president. Estimates show deficits topping $1 trillion in 2019 and 2020. That would match the deficits in 2009 through 2011 that followed the financial crisis and Great Recession. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The nation's second largest health insurer has agreed to pay the government a record $16 million to settle potential privacy violations in the biggest known healthcare hack in U.S. history. The personal information of nearly 79 million people, including birth dates, social security numbers, and medical ideas, was exposed in the hack, which Anthem discovered 3 years ago. The company also agreeing to a corrective action plan that will be monitored by the government. And Detroit police say they will file a criminal complaint against the owners of a funeral home after the remains of 10 fetuses and 1 infant were found last week. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
What, Kings again? I get to talk about Kings? I love talking about Kings. My favorite. I wake up early in the morning. Sometimes I wake up before the alarm clock, like 3:30, something like that, 3:20, and go, what will I say about Kings today? The vehicle for the King's love is the bistec chamorro. That's their big Tuesday lunch thing. But you can go to King's anytime you want to and call up all kinds of other favorites that you want. You want Salisbury steak, you want meatloaf, you want tanak. They got that. Loco Moco, they can do that. Oh man, they've got a couple of different versions of it. I want you to try the next time that you're there. In fact, I'm gonna ask for somebody to bring me a menu so I can point it out for you. But anyway, bistec chamorro lunch special, King's today.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
It's a whole slew of people that make it possible for me to join you every morning here on The Point. I'm talking about my friends at American President Lines. They're shipping the future's American water tech. Smarter water, better water. Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And of course, Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Oh, how nice. No, I'm just looking at something on Facebook. Suzanne's on in Paris got a neat gift from her staff in the office. Apparently National Bosses Day, and I didn't know. I didn't know until I went just now to my office, and on my office is a 12-pack of Heineken Light with a note that says National Bosses Day. Suzanne's got a cup of something from Infusion, right? So, I think we're both happy on National Bosses Day. I'm going to be here all day in case any other members of Choice Broadcasting would like to place certain articles or beverages on my desk. It'll make me happy, trust me. 8 after 9. Oh, you know what? You don't have to put beer. Just get me one of those hot pastrami deals from over at Subway. Those are so tasty. Lean meat, cut lean pastrami-style meat that they put in there, and you can have it on any bread you want. My personal favorite, 9-grain honey oat. coat. I like the texture that you get with all the different grains that they put on the thing. And I'm trying to stay away from like regular white bread these days. So I'm going with the darker, earthier stuff. And it's so good. You condiments on top. You put your favorite flavors on top. Try it because it's happening for a limited time. Hot pastrami at Subway.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Let's see, what do we got going on? What's the interesting blah, blah, blah on the Facebook Live page right now? Daryl Taggarty writing, always pushed for the Democratic Party to become its own entity instead of an extension of the strongest candidate. If we had appealed to standards that would have consequences. All right. Now, party position is extension of plurality. No one really worked to combine primary campaigns, and this is the same position. Calvo put up a straw candidate in Ray, with Lou carrying the common Calvo Bank of Guam business benefits forward. Too bad neither Post nor PDN has printed my op-ed on this. Well, write it here. People watch the Facebook Live when it's live. Some people watch it when it's on video on demand. But it's interesting how you talk about that and how you have the feel that the parties are all about the gubernatorial candidates. The Democratic Party for Lou, the Republican Party for Ray. I have heard from many of the senatorial candidates, a couple in particular, from both sides, Republicans and Democrats. I'm like, well, what did the party do for you today?
Yeah.
Have they done? Have there any big senatorial meet rallies? Has the Republican Party taken out some big ads on the radio? Here, meet your Republican senatorial candidate, and the comparison is true on the Democratic side, isn't that? Is it not? No, there will be a nod towards unity between here and the general election, where the parties will take out their meager funds and buy some kind of newspaper ad, double truck or something like that, where we got here's our gubernatorial candidates, and here's our slate of 14 or 15 Republicans or Democrats that we want you to vote for in the upcoming general election, and this is who we like for Congress, right? Mm-hmm. There you will see something like that, but it never felt
unified.
Perfunctory is the word that's in my head.
That's too big a word for
Sorry,
Tuesday,
just
bro.
Per usual, it's like here's the ad. We're going to take out this ad because we have to take out the ad. Yeah. We're only doing it because if we don't do it, people will say that we should have. So here's the one or two ads. There, Romeo Carlos telling Daryl. You know what, Daryl, I'd take him up on that. I think the more people read Guam Blog than some of the other traditional media around here. So you might want to take him up on the offer to write that. And I hope I'm riffing in the right direction on what it is that you were talking about. Ken LG says, heard a lot of the same thing when I was talking with legislative candidates. That's why we will be supporting legislative candidates as well as write-ins. And I think that's important. I think it's certainly for these legislative candidates. I've already posited the idea that the Republicans may still stay home in the upcoming general. There might be some of them to go, well, I don't know. I don't know what kind of chances Ray has. Might come down to the runoff.
Chance if they don't get out.
Well, that's a fact. But they should have come out in the primary.
But again, I think it was a given that Ray was going to get in.
Well, of course, yeah. But
so they just came out to vote for whatever Democrats, as you said, would happen, that would lose.
Is that what it is? Perfunctory. That's what we were talking about. There's a word that we were using about the court case the other day. What's that going to be like? It will be perfunctory. And it turned out to be anything but perfunctory. And the reason is because Ray didn't show up. Lawyer did. Said not guilty, Your Honor, on everything, and we'll do anything that the court is asking of us at this time. What?
I'm sorry.
I just don't know how someone can go on television and say, "Yeah, it was a teachable moment. I was just doing what I thought was right," and then go into court and say, "I didn't actually do it."
How do I get a copy of this? There's a buddy of mine that has sent me on Facebook Messenger that painting of Trump having a Diet Coke with Abraham Lincoln is now hanging in the White House. My computer, the computer that I use for controlling the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live is a Windows computer, and Windows decided, in the middle of a conversation that I was having with the listener just a few minutes ago, that it wanted to pick now as a time to update.
Oh, nice.
Yes, as Paul Allen's parting shot to Ray Gibson. Here, let me update your Windows. So it's doing that. Give me a second. I'll see if I can take this picture and put it up. I've got a blank wall at the house that is dying for some kind of artwork, and I've commissioned Michelle Peer to see if she can come up with something that will look good on that wall. That will be a custom expression of the essence of Ray Gibson. BS, BS, BS. But still in all, I'd like something on that wall. And if she doesn't come through, then I like this picture. It's there's Donald Trump, and there's Dick Nixon, Teddy Roosevelt, Jerry Ford, Ronald Reagan's in the picture, both of the Bushes, and Abraham Lincoln.
Wow, what a
It's
gathering.
all of my favorite Republicans right there in one spot. So maybe I will. I could get myself something like this. All right, so where did I leave off in the last hour? Sorry, distracted. Facebook Live calling me, and so I was talking about what I thought was the most direct ad that I've seen yet in this in all of the ads that have been running. And a lot of them seem to be platitudes and we're good, they're bad, that kind of thing. But they are beginning to get more direct. They're beginning to take on a little bit more of an edge, and I'm cool with that because I'm in talk radio. Edge ads give me something to talk about, and the Edge ad that ran yesterday is the anti-abortion, pro-life ad, where Ray Tenorio and Tony Atta are questioning the values of Lulian Guerrero. Ray and Tony are pro-life and believe there are too many alternatives to ever abort a child. Lou's pro-choice stance is contrary to her claims of wanting to serve the needs of Guam's most vulnerable. Who is more vulnerable than a baby waiting to be born? This election, vote for life. Well, just lay out the contradiction. If you vote for Lou, you're voting for death? Is that what you're trying to say? Vote Ray Tenorio and Tony Atta. And you will see the same thing, or similar, I think, coming from the write-in camps. Because that, I think, they've determined to be is it kink or chink in the armor?
Chink.
Okay, the chink in the armor, right? The other one is that she is of money and about business, and that would be the ruination for the common people, the middle class of Guam, the salt of the earth.
I'm sure Lou and Josh are going to issue an ad pretty soon.
Well, they came out with one today.
Tout the qualities of the protection of holstered handguns. I'm just saying.
You're close. So today's ad, the career politicians still don't get it. Underlined in, is that red or orange? I think it's orange. Crime is up. We all agree with that. Taxes have been raised. That's a fact. The cost of living is up. And anybody that reads any of the paperwork that comes out of what was the old Department of Commerce will agree with that as well. Our hospital has lost its accreditation. The career politicians say they have the solutions. If that's true, why are things so bad? They've broken their promises. And broken the law.
Ooh.
Which law are you talking about there, Auntie Lou? Are you talking about the one where you're not supposed to disarm a police officer?
They haven't made that a law yet. That's in the legislature.
Well, it's a misdemeanor. It's a misdemeanor at this point. I think they want to advance it to felony.
I can't even believe it. Hello.
Why would you need to make some? It's like you shouldn't murder people. There shouldn't have to be a law that says you can't murder people, right? It just runs
already
counter.
a commandment for crying out loud.
Why would you need to make that? I mean, that's just kind of basic. Don't run over kids at the bus stop with your car, right?
Yeah.
When the police says stop with what you're doing, stop in the name of the law. Stop. Just enough. I don't know why you'd have to make it a law. Anyway, so going back to the ad here, they're trusted, proven, and law-abiding. They're talking about themselves now. It's time for Lou and Josh. They're trusted, proven, and law-abiding. They'll tackle the issues facing all of us. They've already succeeded helping and caring for thousands in her nursing, policymaking, banking, public administration, and private sector careers. Lou and Josh will get the needed cops in our villages. Lou and Josh will collect taxes. I don't know if you ask me, that might be a reason not to vote for them. No, I want tax holidays. You're going the wrong way. I don't want you to collect any more taxes. I'm tired of the government living out of my pocket. Could you please, let's have some tax holidays that make sense when it's back to school and every parent on Guam mandated now to buy uniforms for their public school kids. Haven't we make it so that we don't have to pay taxes on that? When I get sick, is there a way that we can make it so my prescription drugs, my Dayquil, as a matter of fact, that I needed a whole pack of Dayquil last week.
Right.
And so I went and I bought a whole pack of Dayquil, and I had to pay 5% tax on that.
Really?
Yes, because it's sold like a retail product. There's no holiday on drugs.
Wow.
They were talking about doing a holiday on drugs.
Yeah.
But they never went all the way. Never
Do they ever?
So Lou and Josh. This is what I want to see. I want a campaign promise that Lou and Josh will make it easier on Ray and all of the monies that he's got to pay and taxes. See, the price of gasoline has gone up again. Yeah, how much is the liquid fuels tax that's attached to that? That went up in January. Let's roll that one back. Someone say that one. Lou and Josh will roll back the hated liquid fuels tax. That's what I want to see. Lou and Josh will attract new industries to Guam and create new and better paying jobs for our people. Lou and Josh will get the hospital accreditation restored. She's made the point. She was part of the team that got the accreditation. And then the point that, who was it that made earlier this morning was Vince Akimoto, that it was in this administration that they lost the accreditation. All right, everybody got lots to talk about. 9:20 in the morning. So is that the appropriate response, to the attack on the morality of the candidate? Just talk about, well, they don't get it. They're career politicians. They broke the law. We're law-abiding. It sounded like a tepid response. Yeah. It sounded like it was, you could have, there's just so much out there. Just on the gun grab incident, you could make that really a platform of the campaign a little bit stronger than the one that you've got.
In my mind, that's not so much a response as something that was planned, and they decided to go ahead and issue it as a response to that. I think we've got something a little dirtier down the pipe.
I'll watch. We'll see. We'll see. They are who? See, there. Chris is doing the thing. Where are we now? We're at that time. Small talk portion of the program. There should be a sign, right? There should be a sign on the small talk portion of the program. Everything that you hear is flat conjecture. May actually be false. Some of what you hear might actually be incorrect, and based purely on opinion. As we make our way through this, now I should stay in the realm of fact, right? A little bit?
Not necessarily.
No, because it's fun to me to point out what I consider to be one of the great flaws in our system here. And it's unfortunately, it's a flaw in the criminal justice system. So what was it, Lou, talking about we need to get the cops on the streets.
Right.
We will get the needed cops in our villages. So number one, that's good. Let's do that. Let's get as many people through the cycles and get them into uniforms and squad cars, because there's a crime being committed right now somewhere. And somewhere, unfortunately, is a police officer that is pulling somebody over that has already been arrested and is on some kind of a pretrial release for another crime that they committed recently. I told you yesterday about this time, about the story of Jerry Anus.
Anus.
That sounds like something you get, doesn't it? Yeah, I ate some bad fish Kelly one the other night, and now I've got Jerry Anus. at this point in the program, I have to tell you, my friends, the only reason why I even work after 9 o'clock in the morning is to find a way to make Mike laugh.
Yeah, that's one of those that's got to simmer a minute.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I wanted to read you this story here. It is a declaration by Peter J. Santos, a duly appointed Assistant Attorney General, and it tells the story of Officer Donnie Pangolina. There ought to be storytelling music at some point when I do these things. Donnie observed a silver sedan motoring south in Route 28 by Nevermind Road. Can I just say how great it is that we have a road called Nevermind Road?
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
Just like any map anywhere else on the planet. I guarantee there's no other Nevermind roads. Anyway, the vehicle was traveling at a high rate of speed and decelerated while continuing to travel on the shoulder of the road. The vehicle also had an obscured license plate due to a plastic cover on the plate. Why do you think you would need to do something like that? Back in the olden days when the cops were still using like radar, there was a belief that because they'd use the license plate as kind of a target,
right?
And bounce it back, and so a lot of people said, well, we'll cover the license plate, and they won't get a good reading off of their radar guns.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why they do that. And there's also some theory around it. It looks kind of cool. Doesn't. Anyway, so Officer Pangolina activated his emergency lights and sirens and conducted a traffic pullover of the vehicle. He then met with the vehicle operator, one Dan Sanchez, and the front seat passenger, Francine Mateo, also known as Defendant 1 and Defendant 2 now.
So Dan and Fran were in the car.
Yes. During the pullover, it was determined that Sanchez did not have a valid driver's license. Officer Pangolina observed a switchblade knife in the center console of the vehicle, which Officer Pangolina, in keeping with department policy and self-preservation, said, I need you to step outside the vehicle for my safety. Sanchez did, and Officer Pangolina continued to speak with Sanchez at the front of the silver sedan while also keeping an eye on Francine Mateo, defendant number 2, for those of you following along. He observed that Mateo was fidgety, and she reached down underneath the front seat. Officer Pangolina then requested that Mateo now exit the vehicle as well for his safety. Mateo complied, and Officer Pangolina asked her why she reached under the seat. She stated that she and Sanchez had been arrested for drug possession earlier in the year, and that she had nothing on her, Officer Pangolina can go check. Officer Pangolina then started to proceed to the passenger side of the vehicle when Sanchez, defendant number 1, suddenly became upset and stated, blank that. You can imagine what the word was. Sanchez then got back into the vehicle and started the ignition. A struggle ensued, and Officer Pangolina was able to turn the vehicle off. During the struggle, Sanchez, defendant 1, pulled Officer Pangolina's jacket hood over his head and struck him on the left side of the jaw with a closed fist.
What, did he think he was in a hockey game?
Officer Pangolina was able to extract Sanchez from the vehicle, where Sanchez continued to be combative, making several more attempts to punch Officer Pangolina in the mouth. While Officer Pangolina was subduing Sanchez, Mateo, defendant number 2, attempted to pull Officer Pangolina off of Sanchez as he gained control of Sanchez. At one point, Mateo started the vehicle and began to drive away, striking the officer in the leg with the car.
Wow.
She drove the vehicle to a nearby side street, then fled on foot. A civilian bystander rendered assistance to Officer Pangolina, and Sanchez was finally subdued. Mateo was later apprehended at Sanchez's residence and brought to the Dedito precinct, and was at the Sanchez residence where they found more drugs.
So evidently Dan and Fran think they're Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes, apparently. But on a more serious note, had there not been a concerned citizen bystanding, looking out for the well-being of this police officer, this peace officer, this could have gone in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and so that's the point that I wanted to leave here. Is these people are dangerous. The ice heads that we've got out there, these ice jug heads, that the police officers. Let me get back to the ad here. Lou and Josh will put the needed cops in the villages. We've got the needed cops in the villages. We've got them on the roads. They're doing their job. But the problem is that when they've done their job it goes to somebody else, and the ball gets dropped. And they say, okay, Ice Jughead 1 and Ice Jughead 2, you better be good and come back when it's time to come back to jail, and we're going to have a trial for you. In the meantime, go and sin no more. The problem is that the go and sin no more thing is just completely lost on these guys. And as far as they're concerned, it's just a wasted day. What happened? I got arrested. And the penalty is, I don't know, I lost 24 hours. Right? They let me out. I bounced out. And now get into an actual physical scrap with a police officer. And had Mateo done something different, had Mateo grabbed a gun, this story would have had a completely different outcome, a much more tragic outcome for somebody. Can you imagine if she did attempt to grab the gun? It is my belief that Pangolina would have reverted immediately into life-saving mode and put a couple of caps in a couple of heads. That's what I would have done. And so this is one of those things that kind of worrisome when you start looking around at the nature of our crime problem here. The temerity, number one, to be on pretrial release and still screwing around with drugs. That's number one. Number two, guy punched the cop in the face. So in addition to the charges for which they are already bringing up on, Daniel Tomas Sanchez has been charged with possession of Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver, the illegal possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, assault against a police officer, resisting arrest, and driving without a driver's license. I'll plea that one out, right, guys? Francine Mateo, possession of Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver, illegal possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, and resisting arrest. No word yet on when she tried to run over the police officer, whether she or not she had a driver's license on her. 9:30 in the morning, 888-8255 is the telephone number. You can WhatsApp me at 988-5874. Let me just quickly check the 9874 number and see if anybody sent me anything that is cool or otherwise postable. Hold on. Stand by one. Concept of text. No, I'm just reading it. I got somebody very interactive here this morning. The concept of tax collection in order to fund the government budgets. Cash shortfalls, question mark, without saying Trump did it. Yeah, a lot of people try to blame Trump on it. Everybody saw it coming, and maybe it's just one of those signs that we are living beyond our means still and again. Hey, it's 9:31 in the morning. I'm gonna take a break here and come back. And when we come back, I'm gonna surprise myself with whatever it is that comes out of my mouth. iConnect time is 9:31, and call iConnect 888-8888. Is that enough eights? I think it was, right? 7? There's 7 8s. You know, just keep pressing the button. Somebody will answer the phone, and they'll say, iConnect, and you say, hey, Ray Gibson's talking about you guys having great plans on mobile and internet and push to talk. I'd like to know more. Call iConnect today.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you. We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
As it turns out, I am saying it correctly. I was wondering if I was talking about, they've got a new sandwich over at Wendy's called Sauce'em. Sauce'em Bacon Classic Cheeseburger, and that's exactly how it's supposed to sound. Sauce'em, like sauce and awesome together. Try it out. It's a bacon classic cheese stacked with applewood smoked bacon on a beef patty, melted cheese, all the fixins, and now Wendy's signature Sauce'em sauce. Wendy's new Sauce'em Bacon Classic. Have it in a single, double, or triple. This is a burger worth bragging about. So let me do it for Wendy's. Quality is their recipe.
Security Title is honored to join and sponsor Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
As you can see on Facebook Live now, I was able to get the graphic, and I love it. I love it. I want a copy of this. I'd like to, get a version of this that I can hang on the wall somewhere. Some places they've got, pictures of Jesus in the living room. I'd like to get this picture in my living room. It's great. It's Trump drinking Diet Coke with Abraham Lincoln. Huh? Eddie, does it get any better than that, my friend?
Yeah, you're right. I wanted to talk to you about that arrest thing and how the process goes, because I've been looking for a gubernatorial candidate that's going to come out and say, I'm going to build a better prison system. I'm going to, push for this and push for that, and work with lawmakers to make us have a safer community. Because actually, you're right on about the throwing them back out into society and let them commit another crime. But the worst part about it is the AG's office. I don't know if it's because they're understaffed or they're overworked or what it is, but it seems like they play a musical chairs kind of thing when it comes to prosecution. And many times they settle for a plea bargain, which will put these guys back out on the streets and they'll do it all over again. Actually, they get educated at the prison because poor Tony Lamarina can't have enough cells to put him in there, and there's no punishment system where they can put him on a chain gang or anything that actually gives them a real punishment. So some of these guys, they think of it as a fallback to FEMA and housing, because they say, oh, why should I be homeless? I just go to DOC and I get fed and I get a roof over my head. I get to talk to the guys. I don't have to work. Nothing. So we need to have prison reform, and that's what I'm looking for in a candidate. I'm looking for somebody to come up with a platform and say, enough is enough. The cost of living, because of thievery and all this other stuff, is going through the roof. Can you imagine if you really sat down and did a study and figured out how much in losses there are for people stealing, like those 2 cars yesterday or Saturday, whenever they did that, and then all these break-ins. I go through break-ins at my company yard in Chico all the time. I've gotten to the point now where if it's not something that I think there's enough evidence to go after somebody, I don't even call the cops anymore,
Right.
And one of these days it's going to hit its breaking point because it's taking food away from my family, that I might just exercise that castle doctrine. And I see the cops doing that too. Because all these guys that are scuffling with them or whatever, before long they're going to go take another solution and say, well, I don't want to encounter this guy because the next time he might kill me. So I might as well just pop.
Well, we've already got, as a matter of fact, I mean, I was joking about Jerry Ennis, right? And that clown was the guy when he was originally arrested in September, threatened the life of the police officer. He actually threatened the police officer. So if that cop squares off against that jughead again, and there is anything that looks or feels like an attempt on this officer's life, this guy would be completely in his rights to dispatch said jughead, if you ask me.
Well, Jerry needs to meet his Amos. That's right. You're right. Because that's a big no-no. Any disrespect towards any form of law enforcement, to me, is a serious offense.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We got cops in our family, and so we understand the value of that authority. We also understand what happens in a society when people no longer respect that authority. And I'm here to tell you, we are there already. We've got all these people. We got a serious drug problem around here that is being addressed by neither of the party's political candidates. We got a serious crime problem that is being addressed by neither. What's the answer to crime? Let's do some surveys.
The problem, I think, Ray, too, is, with his jury selection and all these people getting out of having to go to jury duty, we've got a poor quality of jurors. I have been really looking at some of these cases and trying to figure out how these things come to a mistrial or hung, something weird. And you look at the case and it's shut and done. It's like, oh, we got a strong case, and then all of a sudden there's no conviction because the jurors have decided something else. And so I look back and I go, wow, what is the problem? Is it the quality of the jurors? Is it their opinion against the cops? So they're against the cops too, and everybody against the cops?
Well, remember the jury process.
Or they don't want to come back and be in society, and somebody say, hey, you're the juror that convicted me, so I'm going to take you out. You know, that's what it's getting to be like now.
Well, but remember, though, the jury process. I mean, there's a lot of steps involved. I mean, from just the idea that your driver's license is going to get you on the list. There's that. Then you've got, you go through the process at the courts, and then you actually go through a kind of a selection process, if you will, with the lawyers leading up to the case. I mean, I remember when I was what's the word? I can't remember the word that the legal eagles use, but I went through it and over at the court and was able to get myself out of that particular kind of jury duty simply because I am incapable of taking the testimony of a police officer with the same weight as I would give to any other citizen. As far as I'm concerned, they're police officers, they're sworn protectors, and they are on a step higher on the pedestal of society, if you ask me. So if a cop says something, generally I believe it to be true. And Her Honor asked me twice, says, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sure." And they said, "Okay, go," and I did. But otherwise, they're. How do I say this? You know, the lawyers could have picked any reason if I'd have taken it to the next step. The lawyers could have picked any reason not to accept me as a member of the jury. I'm in the media, or I'm white, or I identify conservative, or just any number of things. Yeah, I know this guy. I don't want him anywhere near this case because he's a talker and he'll lead the jury through the discussion.
Yeah, but sometimes you need that more honest citizen than you do the bottom of the jar kind of picking, because that's what apparently is what's happening. And lately, it looks like ethnicity has something to do with it too, because I see a lot of the jurors, and I'm like, wow, I wonder if that's swayed anything. And I followed the case, and I looked at the jury selection, and I said, wow, they came down to this, and they thought they had this, and they thought they had a clear mind, and all of a sudden, one juror just goes totally against the grain of everybody else, and it becomes a mistrial. And so what's happening is the whole system has to start the process has to start all over again, and they go through the thing. And there's a case currently in court right now doing that same thing, and makes you wonder what is the reason why this is happening, and what is in the best interest of justice. Is this the process that we need to do, or do we need to revamp it? Do we need to reform it? Mm-hmm. What do we need to do? Because there are so many cases like that. And then you got the process of appeals. Boy, some of that stuff is just absurd of how they figure out a new angle and a new everything. And I'm like, wow.
Isn't that something? We're old enough to remember when somebody got in trouble. There was a trial, and Judge Abadi would hand them down a sentence that would bring tears to your eyes, and then people would go to jail. It feels like you almost never hear about people going to jail anymore.
Yeah, and we fear that. We wouldn't want to commit a crime because we didn't want to have the wrath of Judge Abati.
Right.
But we need another Judge Abati or somebody that looks at it, but yet still has the compassion and says, you know what, I'm going to put you in prison, but I'm going to allow you to work on a work detail so at least you can provide some kind of an income for your family.
Hey, how about provide some kind of restitution to the people that you have wronged, the people that you have stolen from, the people whose lives you ruined? How about we make it so that you can earn a penny or two in prison every day, so that you can get back on the side of goodness and light?
Well, we used to have that, and they'd say 50% of it goes to restitution, 50% of it goes to support your family, so they don't have to go on welfare and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
And so there was some latitude and some flexibility for the judges to do that. But now you've got all these minimum sentencing guidelines and maximum sentencing guidelines. So now how they're getting around that is they just plea bargain and they plead to a lesser crime. So you don't really get the wrath of what you did. And people that do the crime should pay the fine, pay community back. I'm a firm believer in that. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yeah, well, there's I don't know about the Hammurabi law. I'm not going to be cutting anybody's hands off as much as I want to, but still in all, I agree with you. I think there's a big lack of justice around here in this town, and there's any number of people that we can point to and say, you're part of the problem, Your Honor. You're part of the problem, you at the Attorney General's office. I think the last people that we can point a finger at are the police officers, because it seems to me, and there's ample evidence, on the daily, on the daily, Eddie, that the cops are out there looking for the bad guys. They know who they are, and they're pulling them over, and they're effecting arrests. And as we have seen, it seems to me that it doesn't matter what the quality of the police officer is, what the quality of the rest is. There is always somebody else in the system down the cascade that will look the other way and open the door just a little bit wider so that these jugheads can go back and enjoy life and continue to steal and continue to ruin people's lives with ICE.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was involved in helping the cops arrest some people that were going around breaking into construction sites or whatever. And after the third time, the one cop said to me, he says, you know what, see that guy over there? I bet you before the week's over, he's going to go break into somewhere else. And I'm going to have to go try to arrest him. And I'm going to try to arrest him and put him in, and they're going to let him go again.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what's the point? I might as well forget about it and go look for a more serious crime or something else. Now, when I hear a cop say that, that gets pretty scary, because then that leaves the rest of us more vulnerable. And I don't think we need to be vulnerable, and I don't think the cost of living on Guam should be dependent on the crimes. And that's what I'm seeing nowadays. I see businesses padding the price of their goods because they know they're going to have so much losses. And I've looked at their financial statements, and because of those losses, the consumer is paying much more dollars. I talked to somebody at Kmart in their loss prevention. There's the same thing right there. You know, there was evidence there of that, and I said, why should the consumer be paying for all these issues? Same with fuel.
Hey, you got to pay up the extra insurance premium for the things that they are able to claim. I hear you. I hear you, Eddie, and I will hope that in the next 3 weeks, 21 days between now and the general election, where you and I are going to go out and cast our votes and pick up ballots for one side or the other, I would hope that that one of the three gubernatorial teams, and certainly the Attorney General crime fighters that we are going to elect, will come to us with a concrete plan on how we are going to deal with criminals and how we are going to find ways to make these charges stick and bring justice back to this community, and an awareness and a respect for the authority of law.
If you and I could achieve that, that would be a great thing.
Well, we'll just talk about it. We'll just talk about it every day. Is the thing, and that's why yesterday I was talking about the Jerry Anus. I almost want to say that butthead, but I was talking about him. And today it's these two jugheads. Both of them assaulted a police officer, and that crime that cannot go unanswered. That cannot go unanswered.
Yeah. And I don't care who you are. If you're the son of a judge, whether you're the lieutenant governor, whether you're whatever, if you do a serious crime like that could explode into something, you should pay the price. I mean, I'm sorry. I like Ray Sonordo, ever since he was a cop, but I can't put up with that. He's just got to face it and say, I messed up. What can we do to do this? I didn't have any bad intentions, maybe because I was inebriated or what the deal is, but that's a serious crime to grab the gun. I mean, like you said, if it had been anybody else, they would have been shot. It's that serious. And when I was a law enforcement officer, I had a secondary weapon on my ankle, and if you grab my gun, let me tell you, that second
here comes the backup
on my ankle would have been barking at you.
Here comes the backup. 9:47, Eddie. It's always a pleasure. I'll see you pretty soon.
Okay, you take care.
I will, and we'll see what we can do about you and Blake going off to New York to watch Dallas play. Who did you want to play? The Giants in New York? I don't know. Why would I go to New York? I was thinking about that. It's a little bit of traveling and conversations with somebody about wanting to go off to the U.S. mainland. And it occurred to me when I was hearing it. I almost immediately put myself, I could see myself sitting in the Section 8 area of the airplane. Right? For, I don't know, 12 hours, 13 hours or something like that, and whatever it took to get me to the west coast of the United States, and then just feeling that anxiety. I don't like the Hawaii International Airport. I don't like LAX. And I just thought, for a second, it sounded great talking about the destination and talking about the sightseeing and the food and the shopping and all of this other stuff. And then it occurred to me, you know what? I could take some mileage that I got stacked up right now and give it to my friends over at United and fly in the pointy end of the airplane, right? and get to someplace like Tokyo or Seoul, Korea, or Manila, which is, they tell me, a pretty fun town in the Philippines. Or Bangkok, or, you know, where I really think about maybe heading to eventually is Vietnam.
That's nice.
Can you imagine? The history there, and never mind the wartime history. I mean, just think about the architectural history, things that were put there, the French colonized time, all of those. I think that would just be fascinating. And then to start talking about the way that they've used technology to be able to build up their economy. Anyways, it's fun stuff. So I'm thinking, yeah, mainland versus virtually anywhere in Asia, to include Australia. Yeah, kind of an easy decision to make, isn't it? 9:49 in the morning, and I promised I was going to spend a second talking about this. I had the pleasure just a few weeks ago of interviewing Dr. Zachary Pruce. And Dr. Zachary Pruce is a rheumatologist. And I got an education, as I always do when I interview somebody. You got to understand, when I've got somebody in front of me, chances are I know nothing about what it is that they do. I know nothing about rheumatic diseases. I know nothing about lupus, but I got an education in that conversation. So sometimes when we're doing this, it's not, you know, me knowing what I'm talking about and asking educated questions about what I'm talking about. I'm literally a newbie in some of these fields for people that I'm interviewing. So I learned a ton of stuff from this guy, and among the things that I learned was there's no other rheumatologist on Guam. If you've got something, chances are you've gone to a general practitioner. He might open up a couple of books, Google a couple of medical websites, and make a prescription. This guy's deep into rheumatology. And this is not a plug for Guam Regional Medical City. It's a plug for a get-together that the Lupus Awareness Group of Guam are going to be having on Friday, 6 until 9 at the Tamuning Senior Center. So if you suffer from lupus, if you suffer from rheumatic diseases, if you just got the itchy feeling and you don't know what it is, then get a chance to get in front of this guy and hear what he has to say. He said, let's talk lupus. Again, a meet and greet for Dr. Zachary Pruce at Friday, 6 until 9 at the Tamuning Senior Center. Now, it's not this Friday, it's the 26th. So put that in your calendar. And yes, I have lined up a couple of people that we might do a phone interview with down the road to talk to them about that. A couple of other items in the table of contents that I practically see. Now I was gonna do the table, and now you're sending me to a break. Look at that. Well, what am I? How am I? Because I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to think about something else and not get to the table of contentsy stuff.
Yeah, but I had to catch you before you get on that roll, Butter.
Let me just quick. Congratulations to Gianna Scambalori, who has been crowned the new Miss Guam World. And I'll say it like this. And older folks will get the joke. Gee, a Scambalori that's a beauty queen. Imagine that. Just the last in a long line of very attractive Scambaloris. Congratulations to you. Big K-pop concert. Looks like it's coming to Guam. GVB working with a whole bunch of people. They think that this might attract 20,000 people. Right, to watch these K-pop acts.
Oh, K-pop's huge. I mean, the kids from the Philippines will flock over here to see that just as well.
That could be. And answering the question, what happens when you write in Frank and Alicia under the GOP blank and the Democrat blank? What will happen there? You know, we still don't have an answer to that question. I thought it was one thing. Maria Pangilinan thought it was one thing. Ken Leon Guerrero and Frank Uggan think it's another thing. We'll find out about that in a meeting tonight over at the Guam Election Commission as they steamroller our way into General Election 2018. Currently, the time is 9:52. You were talking about a break. Maybe we'll take that now.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Meet all the
candidates up close and personal and find out why they deserve your vote. On Saturday, October 27th, you can meet them face-to-face during Micronesia Mall's One-on-One with the candidates. From 1 to 4 p.m., you can ask the tough questions, exchange views, express your concerns, or just get to know your candidates better. Hosted by Ray Gibson and broadcast on 93.3 The Point. Go one-on-one with the candidates. Saturday, October 27th, only at Micronesia Mall.
Nice. Jose Paris Langura II says, good morning, Uncle Ray. Well, it's good to have you out there. Who else? Brad Hewitt says, vote no on Election Day to retaining these judges. Yeah, it's a beauty contest, unfortunately. And, most people just, yeah, go ahead, stay there. What did I do now, Romy? What'd I do? Romy says, that was good coffee. Normally, Romy says things like that if I've said something that causes him to coffee out the nose. Was the Jerry Anus thing, right? Had to be it. Had to be it.
Yeah, I think so.
Where's the other post here that was fun? What's funny is those who are going after Lou were big-time supporters for Hillary. She almost came to the point of any time was a good time for an abortion, just saying. Are you suggesting, Bill, that there might be a degree of hypocrisy among some who all of a sudden have embraced the pro-life flag? I'm pro-life. I am for the family. I'm for the middle class. That's it. And anybody that's not me, baby killer. That's what's going on. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah, there were a lot of people on that side that were supporting Hillary Clinton or not supporting Donald Trump. Yeah. So maybe there could be. I don't know. I'd have to dig it out. I don't know that's Frank, though. I mean, Frank is always kind of, in my mind, I think he's always had the conversation that bent certainly towards pro-life. He'll take a look at his legislative record and things like that. I don't have it, obviously, in front of me, but it seems to me that there were a couple of measures that he introduced over at the legislature, including one that I believe Lou testified against that was markedly pro-life. At any rate, 9:55 in the morning. Where are we going? Is it? I'm trying to find. There was another post that somebody, Chris from Bigger Better, had posted a question in here. So many conspiracies, and they're all working together. And that's something that started leaking to the surface yesterday. Is bubbling up from the political gossip ooze that is out there. Is the idea that Frank's write-in campaign is not just Frank and Ken and Andre. It is in collusion. It is in cahoots with the Republican Party of Guam in an effort to dash Lulian Guerrero's chances at being the first woman at Adelup, the first woman governor. Huh? And so maybe there's this conspiracy that there's been a secret get-together. And now Frank and Ray together, cheek and jowl. Close.
I've heard something about somebody from off-island offering their services for 6 figures to just make the election a mess. Have you heard that?
So we can do that ourselves. Yeah, I've heard about it. I don't know. There's firms, right? There's people that you can dig out that what are they called? They're specialists, and it wouldn't be the first time. I want to say that even Felix had somebody that was I don't know. It's not a reputation thing. I'm not going to. But there's a name for it.
Right.
It's just it's like a publicist or something. It's just somebody that looks after you like a stylist and says, okay, never wear that outfit out in public. You can wear that around the house, but if you leave the house wearing that, you'll never become the governor of Guam.
Right.
Just one of those kinds of things. So you've got firms that will do that and keep an eye out for your reputation.
Well, those are PR guys. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I think what we're talking about here. But I think there are people that are trying to gin it up like it is some kind of like the Russians.
Oh no, yeah, I've heard China. I've heard
getting involved with our elections
in the Philippines
really?
Or something.
Yeah, you want somebody to screw up elections? We can do that on our own. You don't need to bring in anybody from the Philippines. Here's an example. Take a look at Troy Torres. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out on a daily who it is that Troy doesn't like. I originally thought the only person that Troy didn't like was Ray Tenorio.
Right.
Well, as it turns out, he didn't like Frank Uggan either. He swore out a complaint against him, and he's now mad because nobody's looking at it. So I'm going, wait a second. is Troy all right? Now where is Troy at? Is it Troy doesn't like Ray and Frank? Is it because Troy is now hanging with is because he's in? Is that what it is?
Interesting.
So and so maybe the conspiracy that is floating around that says that Ray and Frank are cheek and jowl on this, maybe that's coming from there as well, saying, that's what we're going to do. So if they're going to point a finger at us, we'll point a finger right back at them. I don't know. It is getting confusing, and it will be getting even more. Political media consultant, lobbyist. I don't know that those are the words either. I'll remember it in 3 minutes, and the show will have been over by in 1 minute after that. So it's one of those things that'll come to me, and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. I don't know that there is anything to that particular story, and even if there was, what else is new? What else is new? You think maybe they're the only ones that were digging around? I think they're the only people in the Philippines that have found connections here on Guam. The population is 40% Filipino. There's all kinds of connects, babe. Look, it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 a.m. already? I didn't talk everything out, did I? I got to save some stuff for tomorrow. Hey, speaking of tomorrow, I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., another version of The Ray Gibson Show. Another version. It almost sounded like a version of The Ray Gibson Show, right? Sorry. Another version of The Ray Gibson Show, and we're going to have cactus hides for lunch today. And goat salmon. You're going to listen to the commercial again, aren't you? We're KUSG. I got you. Bob Klitsky's Tall Tales starts at 4 o'clock this afternoon. You got to be here on the point and catch every single solitary second of it. Until tomorrow morning. For Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan, and Blake Watson, this is Ray Gibson saying see you later.
Possible break in the case. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. As pressure mounts, Saudi Arabian officials agreeing to try to find out what happened to a journalist who disappeared at the Saudi consulate in Turkey.
13 days after Jamal Khashoggi disappeared, and Saudi Arabia has started to cooperate. On Monday, King Salman ordered an investigation into the case, headed up by the lead Saudi prosecutor, working in tandem with Turkey. Turkish authorities have been requesting access to the consulate since Khashoggi went missing. Finally today, it happened. For days now, Turkish authorities have been trying to get inside the Saudi consulate to find out what happened to Jamal Khashoggi. They are now just arriving, Saudi and Turkish investigators. Hopefully, they can get to the bottom of this saga.
Fox's Benjamin Hall in Istanbul. President Trump again addressed the issue this afternoon.
We're working very close with Saudi Arabia and with Turkey, and they're working together to figure out what happened. And they want to know what happened also. So a lot of people are working on it.
The president with the comments in Georgia after touring areas destroyed by Hurricane Michael. He spoke with Saudi King Salman.